Pezza, the summer is here. I'm getting temperature warnings for 40 plus degrees in Sydney. I'm getting shit tips in Geelong. I'm getting cyclones off the coast of North Queensland. I'm getting the Big Bash on TV that's at a time that's conducive to me being able to watch it every 3 balls whilst I get distracted by Insta Reels. And I'm getting a test match in Perth, mate. I fucking love Perth. I love Perth. I love that the new stadium is too big. I love that the Wacker was great, except for it being 1,000,000 degrees if you were there to watch it. I love that there's going to be a hill or a grassy knoll or some shit in the new stadium this year. I love the Perth Scorchers. I love Adam Voges. I love Daniel Ricciardo. I love Tom Moody. I love Adam Gilchrist. I love Heath Ledger. I love Charlie Stobo, in that order. I love how fucking blindingly bright it is in Perth. I love the people. I love Cottesloe Beach. I love that the most attractive women in this country, Pezza, after Sydney, are from Perth. I love that WA are dominating Australian cricket domestically, and they keep producing fucking worldies for my team. The boys from the West, Stoinis, Green, Marsh, Inglis, Agar, some others. But what I really love, Pez, I love watching hapless touring teams deal with the bounce of the West from our boys who have given us more memories than a director's cut of Inception or some shit. We get to fucking put it through the chest, Pezza. We get to put it through the chest of batsmen whose names are hard to say and that are using unrecognisable bat sponsors. Listening to the sounds of summer while I emotionally check out of the job that I hate because Christmas is here. We get to watch our bats score the easiest hundreds you'll ever see, whilst also asking, what's he like as a bloke? And we also get to hear that the touring bowlers are getting carried away because of the bounce, Pezza. They need to pitch it up. This is the Australian summer. These are our boys. This is the secret life of us. This is complete domination. Australia will win every single fucking session this summer. Drink it in while you're dominating a leftover ham, Australia. How fucking good, Sam Perry.
Yeah, fuck, it's a fill your boots summer.
Yeah, the cricket's on.
Cricket's on.
Yeah.
Mate. Well, look, we missed the jump last week. Let's be honest.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
Yeah.
We're drunk uncles storming into our nephew's birthday a couple of days late because we've been out in the bend. A couple of things happened last week.
Speaking of the West.
Yeah, exactly. Which we're going to get into. But yeah, mate, summer's here. It's trappings. It's character assassinations in the absence of any cricket.
That's right.
That we're interested in. It's turning up online and seeing a middle stump dislodged with the bail's structural integrity intact.
Now we're talking.
And discussing those kinds of things.
ACT cricket, that's where it's at.
Well, do you want to like, shall we get into that? Look, Ginninderra versus Wests, ACT threes.
Everyone's got a West, don't they?
People may have seen this online. And if you haven't, well, you're a normal person.
Yeah, congratulations.
For one, congrats. But also, yeah, it's just it's a picture of a set of cricket stumps where the middle stump is basically bent back, and both bails are still stuck together, the structural integrity of it intact. And you know, cue all of the conversations about whether that's out or not, what the MCC laws say, etc. Now,
from all the people without someone to love this Christmas. Don't worry about that +1 for Christmas, Mum.
I don't. A lot of people like to couch, you know, typecast TGC as, you know, the funny podcast. There's a number of serious ones out there with journalistic integrity. TGC, you know, like Ross from Friends in the corner making jokes while Rachel's fucking.
I missed that episode.
I think he's in the corner. He's holding a lamp up to his... Anyway, and... but that's incorrect. I don't know if anyone else has done this, but I got in touch with the batter in question, Matthew Bazusto. Okay, not to be confused with Will Bazisto.
Different person altogether.
Different person. And he says, I just asked him purely, you know, in your own words, Matthew, what happened? Yes, I was the batter, he says. Game went from a 50-over game to a 20-over game due to the freak storm that tore through Canberra Friday night, blowing off the covers. The over before, while standing at the non-striker's end, I noticed one of the bails was sitting up out of the groove, fixed that up, over-ended. I was then on strike. faced the 4-dot balls in the over, and went the massive tonk to be bowled. As I was walking off to hit the showers and reconsider why I play this game, wasting another Saturday, I heard the keeper laughing and say, "Look at the bails." Turned back and noticed the bails hadn't been broken. After a long deliberation, brackets, during rulebook checks, picturing myself as Jordan Belfort, I'm not fucking leaving, the show goes on, close brackets, by the umpires, I was given not out. Unfortunately, I didn't trouble the scorers, only adding another boundary. Rarest thing I've ever seen on a cricket field in the 30 years I've been playing.
And he was saying some rare stuff over the time.
Matty, yeah. Matty B.
Apparently Jordan Belfort was actually just copying WG Grace when he was bowled. I'm not fucking leaving. Put the bails back on.
Are you walking in that situation?
Yeah.
A lot of people online are saying, just walk, mate. And I said to Matthew, I said, was anyone blowing up and say, mate, you should just walk? He said, no, they were all good about it.
See, if I've already paid my subs for the year, I'm standing right there. I'm getting full value to hit one more boundary. And then,
is that how you think about cricket? It's like, oh, I've paid my subs.
Yeah.
I've got to get full value for these subs.
Yeah. Am I walking off? Yeah, probably.
So you're like giving yourself out. I've been fucking castled, middle peg.
Rarely will I have been dismissed more conclusively than in this manner.
But the bails are...
technically. I don't know, man.
He does say that the over before, he notices one of the bails was sitting up out of the groove. All he says is, fixed that up. Now, what does that mean? A little bit of blue tack in between the bails? Cricketers do shit like that. When I got bowled, for me, it was a exclusively auditory experience. I never wanted to look at the damage behind me. It was never optical. Like, I never had to check myself to see what had happened. Because it's the stump, it's the death rattle, and it's the sound, it's the hyenas, it's everything.
I never did because the Channel 9 commentators told me not to do that when I was a kid. They're just like, you never look around.
You never look back.
It feels like a thing Ian Chappell might say.
Yeah.
And just like, you never look around. So I was like, oh, okay.
They were always giving us fucking rules, weren't they? Those
always,
guys.
yeah.
Or law 29.1, here goes.
Speaking of which, the
wicket is broken when at least one ball is completely removed from one bail is completely removed from the top of the stumps. One or more stumps is removed from the ground. A healthy level of noncery online about this, law noncery.
Hang on, sorry, at least one stump as well.
No,
one bail.
Yeah, you're into it. The wicket is broken when at least one bail is completely removed from the top of the stumps.
Okay, so it's
one or more stumps is removed from the ground. 29.1. Now, I asked my dad about this.
Yeah.
Gave him the law. He said, unclear, but reading the text literally, not out. The common law says one must examine the text, context and purpose of the provision in order to work out the true meaning, but courts stop short of rewriting what judges may believe is a poorly drafted law, and 29.1 is one, as this is the Parliament's job and that is not the judiciary's function. It breaches separation of powers principle, a fundamental part of democracy. Of course, it's easy to just reform the law. Difficult to see how any stakeholder would disagree. He says the umpire gave a just result. If he or she went the other way, it would be a not unreasonable decision, even if popular, and a technicality. If they went the other way, the umpire is roughly analogous to a judge with ICC, roughly analogous to Parliament. Judges should uphold the law, not make it up.
And that's why cricket is so accessible. Get your kids involved in it, parents out there. Don't worry about the other competitions. Don't worry about TikTok dances or basketball or other sports that take up less of your time driving around the state and ruining your first family car. Don't worry about that. Get into the laws of the game. Get into the nitty-gritty, into the quagmire, the swamp, the fucking trough. Roll around in it.
Exactly. It's here. And that's why I wanted to talk about that, because he goes, the Australian summer is here. With this kind of scenario, the Australian summer is here, like migratory birds. You know, our collective conscience this last week has shifted from Harley Reid going one, from Adam Fanua Blake's destination, from Kane Corns being at Disneyland, to cricketing matters. You know, could Sydney get on in 42-degree weather over the weekend? Will Melbourne play this month owing to rain? Do you walk if your middle stump is castle but the bails keep their structural integrity? You know, Johnson, Warner, and the launch of What's He Like as a Bloke Summer.
Yes.
Oh, look, here's Steve Waugh with a carousel post, 2 separate videos, each 60 seconds long, simply titled Wasp v Spider, showing a wasp turning a spider over and going to work.
Come on.
Summer's here! Did you see
Slip,
that?
slop, slap. Summer's here.
Just, mate, I'm fucking scrolling Instagram. Steve Waugh is the fucking Scorsese. Mate, it is one of the most chilling items of content I've ever seen. Single shot, unmoved, just a wasp putting a spider to the fucking sword, simply titled Wasp v Spider. Carousel post. He's gone two. Mate, too far.
Hang it up in the dressing room. Hang it up in the dressing room.
He's got levels, and I love it.
Yeah.
By the way.
And you just know he's wearing his baggy green when he was filming that as well.
You can hear people in the background. Like, he might be on some kind of shoot for an ad or something.
Maybe.
And what's he doing, Tugger? He's just saying it. I mean, to be fair, it's very compelling content.
It was, yeah.
We used to talk about that at Grade Cricket all the time. Lion v Tiger, Shark v, all that sort of stuff. Who's going up top, but
Silverback versus my mate Tim.
Exactly. Yeah, Godzilla v Kong, and he's just seen a wasp and a spider, and he's just thought, well, pull the old phone out here. Summer's here, mate. Wasp v Spider.
That is good. You know what? Summer's right here, right now, and our live show tour starts this week in Adelaide. Every city is sold out except for Sydney at the NMORE. That is Sydney, January 2 at the NMORE. Our guest there is Simon KATICH. So if you are in Sydney and you want to come along and you want to swim around, revel in the summer, that is, if you want to see Wasp vs Spider. Is that what it was? Wasp vs Spider.
I was a bit confused with Rock Spider, but there's a bit of that too.
I was going to say something that would have been completely libelous. Please do come along to that Sydney show. We've written the show. We're really excited. These are going to be our biggest ever live shows, especially in Australia. Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, Fremantle, all sold out. The only tickets available are at Sydney, January 2nd at the NMORE. We've almost sold out the NMORE. That's going to be super exciting. Simon KATICH, our guest there. So tickets are available. You can go to greycricketer.com and go to the live show tabs there. You can also just search Grey Cricketer NMORE. You can go through the Ticketek website. To pick up the last remaining tickets there, but please do come along because we want you to swim around in this summer with us, celebrating the summer that is.
We're nearly there. We're nearly there. Like NMORE 1,600 seats. There's only a little bit to go to make that a full house. You're talking January 2, post Christmas, post New Year's haze. It's the night before the Test match. It's a fucking red hot show that's been written. Simon KATICH is there. There'll be questions from the audience at the end. KATICH has agreed to stay for asktgc. I don't know if people have questions for him. I suspect there might be a few questions knocking about for Cato.
Yeah.
That's just me. Look, whatever it might be. I don't think he'll see that coming personally as well. We can really blindside him with that kind of stuff. But you're like, it's KATICH, it's a rig, it's January 2. The happiness and relaxation and haze over people from food and drink, etc. is there. The test will be upon us. It's going to be
night before the test.
It's going to be Davy's last test.
Oh yeah.
After what George Bailey did. And I just encourage a lot of people to get the last few tickets of this, what is otherwise a sold-out live show summer for us. We're really excited about it now.
So the first step is on this Thursday in
Adelaide, where we've had some ripping shows as well. So last few shows in Adelaide have been matinees owing to the night test there. So we get in before the game. People turning up at 11 a.m. absolutely cut. Adelaide goes fucking hard in that respect. But this time it's a night show. Now, fans may have noticed that we've not attached our live shows to the tests this year, so our guests aren't jiving, with those who are part of the cricket circus that rolls into town. So Adelaide, we're going to do some guest announcements now.
Right.
Okay. For Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth. So Adelaide, what we're thinking is no circus in town, but BBL's knocking about. Okay. So it is BBL season after all. And we thought, let's kick off these live shows by talking chest, pipes, a bloke who hits a big ball, pretty much the classic face of our domestic franchise product, I want to say. The Johnny Sins of cricket, Brendan McCullum's bash brother and beer partner, Adelaide Strikers' own adopted son, Chris Lynn will be joining us on stage. Can you just imagine the energy of that walking out on stage?
Yeah.
He's referred to me as brother 4 or 5 times via text message. He wants to get in early to have a couple of beers with us beforehand. Adelaide has been known to be, I'd say, probably the drunkest live show that we do. You're not sure about that? Well,
there's always competition for spots there.
So Chris Lynn's going to be joining us in Adelaide. Now, Melbourne, very, very excited about our Melbourne show at the Forum. There on Flinders Street. It feels very central.
Yeah.
It's going to be our biggest show in Melbourne ever. That's sold out in like a day.
Yeah.
So that's nearly 1,000 people crammed into the Forum. December 20th, that's in 9 days' time. People are just knocking off for Christmas.
Yeah,
the energy's going to be unbelievable.
Anyone good coming?
We've wanted to line this guest up for a long time for a live show.
Yeah.
Finally, the ships in the night have docked at the Bay, and by that I mean Port Phillip Bay. It is the man who carried Australia's World Cup on his injured back.
George Bailey.
Who occasionally forewent singing the national anthem because he was either high or wanted to annoy journalists. He leads the Get Rarer movement. His only request is that we sort him a good bottle of whiskey. That's right, Adam Zampa will be on stage with us at the sold-out Forum.
Wow. A dual World Cup winner.
Zorby.
And a jewel in our crown. That'll be quite something.
Sydney, Simon KATICH. Now, Brisbane and Perth. Now, I want you to listen up here, Brisbane and Perth, okay? Speaking of circuses not rolling into town, no BBL in town either. So we're neither in the circus nor the BBL circus. But we got the monocle out.
Yeah.
We got the monocle out, Higos and I, here in our studio. We asked ourselves, who are the beating hearts of this state, of these states proper, right? Without the cricket circus in town, okay?
Yeah.
Who bleeds cane toad? Who bleeds sandgroper?
Who's got the shoulders for it?
Who are the doyens of their respective states who carry the spirit of the land, who know where the bodies are fucking buried in these states? Cricketing.
That's really
cricketing.
That's just true of both.
Figure of speech.
That's true of both.
That's what I'm saying. These guys know where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a few elder statesmen here who will be joining us on stage to impart wisdom, fire shots, hopefully excoriate the new generation and exalt in the virtues of the old. In Brisbane, I'm just going to whisper this. Casper.
It's Casper.
Michael Kasprowicz.
Yeah.
Okay? And in Perth, talking about bodies of buried doyens, and you mentioned his name earlier, he goes, I'm talking about a serious doyen of West Australian cricket.
Are you talking about a World Cup winner?
Tom Moody. Now, you're talking here with both of these guys, ladies and gentlemen, all format knowledge, tours to faraway lands, fucking hair on the chest, commentary, boards, administration, IPL, two tremendous rigs. We're very, very excited to have these elder statesmen with us at both those shows. So they're the live show guest announcements.
It's a good list.
He goes on to bring. It's rigs all around. And if you've ever slapped Adam Zampa's back, it's a thick, Jimmy Jack as well.
It's thick.
But you got Lynn, Zampa, KATICH, Kasprowicz, Moody.
Sorry.
Once again, apologies for the value.
Very much looking forward to getting around everyone, and in turn, them getting around us as we head around the country one more time. This will be the last tour until the next one.
That's right.
So all tickets are sold out except for in Sydney, and you know how to get tickets if you know how to find the internet, generally speaking, on your phone or devices. January 2, the night before the Sydney Test match. Please do come along, get your tickets before they are completely gone. Pezza, we will be talking about the rest of the cricket, but a shout out to our dear patrons who are supporting this fair production and getting behind us, and in turn keeping the fucking lights on.
asktgc Friday. There's a couple of massive announcements with Patreon. We're launching the summer here, he goes. Really. We're launching the summer. So the way to run through what we're doing with Patreon this year is to start with the dailies. Okay, so let's be fucking honest. Flat summer, bulk chat, TGC. We're making TGC free for everybody as we chat through the games this summer. So we're actually this summer, making the daily available for everybody who tunes into TGC, which means our review of each day's play will land in your free podcast feed, not to be confused with the number 3 or people who say throwdowns instead of throwdowns. Okay, so daily,
first grade, second grade, third grade.
Exactly. Reviews of each day's play will land in your free podcast feed for this summer. Our members on Patreon are massive contributors to this. We'll always roll their comments in. We're guaranteeing a Patreon question in every AskTGC section too. But if you want to join Patreon this summer, a couple of things we want to note to you. Okay, Ask TGC Fridays, the bread and butter, the lifeblood of our Patreon offering, which is just an hour a week, and that is the tune that I'm going to play here. We are going for an hour hour this week now. We're extending by 15 minutes each show, so that's an hour of extra content each month. If you sign up, you're going to get that. Your questions, your comments, the best of the TGC hive mind. We are profiling TGC's chat this summer as well, where that is just the best discourse on TGC. For example, Shit Tip Rob, who writes in, I don't like the PM's 11 wearing test players numbers. Also, I haven't had sex in 6 months.
There you go.
Cocksucking Cowboy wrote in, just saying, talk about a shit tip. And I think, I don't know which game he was referring to, because there could be a few. And Liam also said, vis-a-vis last night, play the Big Bash on Astro with clapping hands in between each.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to join Patreon this summer, we're offering a 15% discount for an annual membership. That's going to last a week. That's a fair bit of Skrilla saving.
Yeah.
15% discount starting today. Sign up. You're going to get TGC, Ask TGC Fridays, plus whatever else we're offering on Patreon for a full year at a 15% discount only for 1 week.
Do you know what that is, Pezza? That's the perfect Christmas present. Tell your parents to buy it for you. Tell your partner, or just find a partner on the internet for a week and get them to get that for you. You're saving 15% for the annual subscription, 1 year. Ask TGC Fridays, every single Friday. The last shows have been called No More Indian Milk for Hetty, Nonce Unanimous, and the Cricket Podcast Show. Some other members are called The Bison's Feet, Fat, Mad and Sad, Jub Jub Bouvier, A Non-Writes In, Statistician Hound, and Lee's Fortuna Court. Also, there's also Studded Collar, Turn 'em Over, and Me Think It Amazing. And also AFP Officer, hashtag 3837.
It's our favourite part of TGC, really.
Indeed. So if you want to become a member of our little community here, patreon.com/Craig Cricketer, 15% off discount for a yearly subscription this week only. Is there anything else?
Yeah. There's 2 more things.
Yeah.
One is Fergus O'Neill and Will Sutherland's on the show today, but people have already seen that in the title. The second thing is, some people may have seen, through TGC, we've launched Cricket et al., which is a writing project involving, it's a writing triumvirate at the moment of Gideon Haigh, Errol Parker from the Batuta Advocate, and myself. He goes, I noticed when Gideon was here, he invited you to write on it as well. But let's just see what happens this. But it's a little writing arm to TGC. Yeah. Gideon's got a piece up already about Mitchell Johnson and cricket opinionistas. It's 3,000 words. I've got one in the works coming out on Wednesday about the unshakable Australian summer. We're going to post every couple of days. It's just some print trappings for the headpiece, for the old noodle there.
Yeah, okay.
Gideon's out from the Australian paywall. Once again, apologies for bringing him into the stable. Gideon straight to your inbox, plus Errol and I. You're talking about the greatest living cricket writer, and for those of you listening of a particular or watching of a particular persuasion, you know who you are. Gideon does cover things other than India at World Cups. He goes, obviously, he invited you to write for it. It's called Cricket et al. cricketetal.substack.com. Sign up, support us with a paid subscription if you really want to back us. Otherwise, you're getting it for free straight to the inbox. Already nearly 2,000 people on board. Just some print trappings for the summer and apologies.
Okay, so the summer is here.
Summer's here.
The summer is here, and let's preview the West Test. The test in the West, other things that rhyme with West or test. Best, chest.
Yes.
Sex pest.
Yes.
That was just improv. But, you know, it's our turn to talk about David Warner and Mitchell Johnson.
We're late.
It is late. And,
but we must have our say.
And cold water has been poured over it when Dave Warner says, oh, well, it wouldn't be the summer without a headline.
That's media cold water, please.
Yeah. Oh, you think it's still hot? You think it's sort of simmering away?
I mean, the first lesson out of this is it's not like there's one good guy and one bad guy. There can be coats at 10 paces everywhere in life. Yeah. That's media cold water.
See, if they called the West Test coats at 10 paces, they'd sell it out in a minute.
And that's the lesson out of this as well.
Yeah.
So many people are like, oh, you know, they're only talking about this because there's no cricket to talk about. Motherfucker, this is cricket.
Yeah, this is cricket.
Anyone who's played cricket understands it. This is what we do. You sit in a pavilion and you character assassinate and judge everybody.
Yeah.
It's literally how it works.
Yeah.
This would be happening if there was the hottest test match being played, you know, like ahead of us.
Yes.
So I'm here for it. It's good. It's a thanks to both, for sure. This is just real life.
It's the announcement of the summer. The summer is here. If you don't like someone, assassinate their character.
Exactly. So it's a summer of what's he like as a bloke.
In response,
where do you want to start?
Well, McDonald said it'll be the same team. So, so he's playing.
Right.
So
It'd be very strange to select him in the squad then leave him out of the 11.
But he's there as a backup in case, you know.
Sorry, I just need a concussion sub.
In case Bangers falls over in the warm-up.
Do you want to like pour over Johnson v Warner? Like, do you want to just have a crack at it?
I don't even know like where to start with it other than just like, I mean, I think the overall point, which I don't think Johnson even made, but it was like he hasn't played very well for a while, so, you know, is his spot in the team in jeopardy, which is a very interesting and fair conversation. But it was more just like an absolute hit piece of just like, this guy's a fucking cunt. So, you know, I'm not sure how much to, you know, wade through it all. But
my first thought was, gee, Johnson was quick, wasn't he?
fuck, he was good. Mate, what about 13-14 against the Poles?
Sometimes you read something like,
Against the 2 and
"Fuck, he was a good player."
Fuck, he was a good player. Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, let's go from what Warner said. Why are people conveniently forgetting what Warner actually said? I know why, because it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
He says,
Because it's going to be a shit summer. I'm going to bore.
you've got to. This is when he gave the press conference, supposedly announcing his retirement
Right,
date.
yes.
He says, "You've got to score runs."
Right, okay.
Literally the first thing he said.
Wow, interesting, David. Okay.
I've always said the World Cup would probably be my final game. I probably owe it to myself and my family. I can score runs, but if I can score runs here and continue to play back in Australia, I can definitely say I won't be playing that West Indies series. If I can get through this World Test Championship and Ashes and make the Pakistan series, I will definitely finish up then.
Who the fuck does he think he is saying that kind of shit, man? What a fucking prick he is. I've had enough of him.
Why do people, like, it's a pretty important point when people are like, mate, this guy's setting his retirement date.
Mate,
Like,
he just wants
now
to
he is signalling something now. He's doing something. He is signposting something. Who knows? Maybe Bailey had already tapped him on the shoulder and said, mate, you're finishing up, and he just wanted to
Well,
push
Mitchell
back
Johnson
on it.
says he's too close to him. They're mates.
Look, I want to say one thing that'll lead into 5 things. Like, if you remove the emotion and hostility of it, of what Johnson said, he has a point on Warner. Warner's selection this summer, I think, is arguably line ball. There's arguments both ways. Sometimes things happen like this in life. But he's got nothing on George Bailey. Like, Johnson knew that to substantiate this argument about Warner not being selected, he had to discredit George Bailey, who selects him.
Incredible time to do that.
And that's where his argument is weakest. He essentially says Bailey's too close to the players, so he's discredited as a selector. That's embarrassing. Like, it carries such little logic so as to completely undermine the points he makes about Warner. Like, Bailey has just selectorially presided over the World Test Championship, the Ashes, the unlikeliest of World Cups. For this World Cup, for example, like, he opted to, with the team, retain Travis Head, even though he was injured for half the tournament. He kept Marnus in the squad when Agar got injured. He played Marnus in the semi and the final over Stoinis, which must have been agonising decisions. He replaced Carey with Josh Inglis. No one is in higher selection form than George Bailey. Like, if anyone's earned the right to have their performances trusted, it's George Bailey as a selector. I think there's good argument to have, like, to move on from Warner, probably to have done it a little while ago. But Bailey, doing it the way he's done it, has shown that he's selecting well.
Yeah. The level of vitriol in the tone of the article was like, and then he even undermined his own point the next day where it was like, I don't like Warner. Like, I mean, he didn't say that specifically.
He conceded that it was personal.
He conceded it was personal. It's like, well, what are we doing here, man? You know, but like, the overall point is an interesting one, but because of the vitriol and the aggression of that article, it almost diminished the entire conversation that no one else could really have because it was like, oh, he's really fucking gone for him there. And like,
or did it make it better?
And we all clicked, didn't we? We all clicked.
Something.
And like, you know, I said on Patreon the other day, like, I can't think of not even a more polarizing person in Australian cricket. I can't think of a person that is universally is too aggressive, but who has upset so much of the Australian cricketing public with his behaviour and whatnot. I don't think Dave Warner will fit into like this Michael Clark role where like he is a legend of the game. Statistically, he's won everything, a couple of things twice. but he will not be considered that way because of his perception by the public. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when Johnson has gone after him, and then like more than half the people are like, whoa, you've gone a little bit hard at David Warner there. It's like you've really missed them. Like you've taken a big old swing and a miss there, Mitch, I reckon, you know? And, like I think the question around Warner, like just for me, before this article and whatever, was like, well, he played in the Ashes, Warner, and I don't think any of the competition, that being Renshaw, Bancroft or Warner, could have done what Warner did in the Ashes. Therefore, he is the incumbent. It's more complicated than that. But so then he comes into the next Test series, which is the Australian summer, and if it was, let's say, for instance, it wasn't David Warner, let's say, for instance, it was Joe Burns and his spot was like up for grabs, you know, back when Joe Burns was playing, you'd always give him 2 Test matches, right? You always give him 2 Test matches. If it doesn't work out, then they move on. Now, 2 Test matches in this instance is Perth and then Melbourne. And then if that doesn't work out, he's going to leave the next Test match anyway. So he probably gets all 3 anyway. But before then, he is the incumbent. He did a perfectly fine job. I don't think he excelled, like especially his batting partner Khawaja was outstanding. But the partnerships, what he suppressed with the new ball in England, I think he did okay. So is he still the best 6 batters in the country in Australia? For me, yes. And I think his record probably suggests that as well, even though the last few summers haven't been great, even by his own standards in Australia. So
I'm very confused, mate. You seem to be discussing this at a sort of rational level of like, should he be picked or not based on performances? I'm not really
That's not really where you're at.
I'd rather talk about like, well, what are the, you know, subtle political undertones of his selection vis-a-vis nuclear, you know, button and all that kind of stuff. He's got the codes.
Candace Warner's picking the teams.
Yes.
You got to remember that.
I'd much prefer to discuss this in terms of, you know, like Chock Mundine getting involved, Fox headline saying Mundine tortures Johnson over low act.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
I want...
nothing gets me more than a low act.
Yeah. I want you know, Johnson saying Bunnings would sell out of sandpaper, which is literally 0 out of 10 chat, which even Johnson conceded that's no good. That's no good. That's like a deal breaker chat for me.
Yeah.
Like as in that is crows. That's the souls of a crow's
If
feet.
someone from the Barmy Army said that, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
But when it's like a guy you played with.
Yeah. Oh. Now, but I'm still grateful because I think this is... I still think, like a lot of people have made this point too, that Gideon made it on the cricket our towel thing as well. Like it's still services to the media industry from Johnson. Still a lot of blokes out there who aren't saying shit about their mates. Yeah. Okay, it's not finessed, you know, like a Walkley Award winner might, but maybe he's allowed to develop. He's literally, at least to his credit, he has come out, Johnson, and said like, yeah, I do hate him. You know what I mean? He hasn't pretended that it's like just a complete intellectual argument, and then you just disagree with him. Like, and I also think that he's presenting it in a way where he may carve out a new niche in media where he can be like, you know, a Russell Brand YouTube, you know, red pilling on the industry type person now, and then he's bringing Chock Mundine onto that show, and I'm sort of watching that show. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we're all benefiting from this.
When you think about it, Pfizer actually picks the team.
That's right. Which is and what about chemtrails in all of this vis-a-vis the impending bushfires? You know, so like. Which is, and I want to apologise to Bharat Sundaresan, who does a great podcast with Mitch Johnson, but unfortunately that podcast has been referred to as the Mitchell Johnson Cricket Show podcast. So that kind of undermines that a little bit, which is a good show, and shout out to Bharat. Not to be confused with India, the country.
Because of the nature of the argument, I did find out that the cricket's about to start. So I couldn't name one Pakistani cricketer coming out that we're playing against, but I can tell you who hates each other.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I like the thing that was funny about it was just like how he just came out like fucking spraying machine gun bullets. Like, normally in Australian cricket, maybe most areas of life, like you start spraying bullets at people when they're a dog that's down, you're kicking them. You know, but it's like, these guys just won the World Cup. Yeah. Like, Warner's been part of all of it.
I thought vibes were good.
You know, like, Warner's Ashes will not be remembered because there wasn't the big 100. There wasn't the crowning moment, the cream on top. You're totally right. Like, he did some good things at different times. It's also hard opening the batting there. Pretty as well. Hard. You know what I mean? Played well at Lords when they went 2-0 up. Yeah. Last game as well before, I don't know, they changed the ball. And, you know, so he was okay. Yeah, you know? He was okay. And he was excellent at the World Cup, beyond excellent. Yeah. They've won everything. He's been part of it. It's just kind of like, No, he's just about got there. He stumbled over the line.
Yeah.
His numbers aren't great.
Yeah.
If Bailey picked Bancroft or Renshaw, I'd probably go like, okay, big call, but play on.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
I think when Boomer's running into bowl next year and Shammy will have wished that whoever's at the other end opening the batting has probably had a couple of tests to play. But, Warner, I'm getting on with my life. I
also like the idea that he's getting like a victory lap. I just don't think that's the relationship with the public with David Warner.
Yeah, and you wonder like why did Warner want this? But it's probably because he can. He's kind of like that. He probably didn't want to bow out at the Ashes, to the tune of people calling him a cheat. Probably fair enough. English people are talking about this, and notice there's like articles knocking around. Just that classic like Aussies as lowbrow scoundrels. Classless beefcakes at 10 paces, chortle at the uncivilised bastardry of it. Those guys wishing anyone in England cared about their own players enough to have a feeling about it.
Yeah,
but good to see England getting involved.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty. I think it's pretty funny. It's very great cricket. Like I like Johnson having a crack at him. Like there are fast bowlers who do this. Like, in a game, if you're getting absolutely hammered, a really good fast bowler will still just be abusing the opposition.
Yep.
Johnson's just like, I don't care how good he is. I'm just going at him.
Yep. All right. Well, there's in the meantime, there was a president's indeed. There was a prime minister.
We're a republic now.
Prime Minister's 11 game, which if you caught the first part of that, there was a graphic at the bottom, but PMXI versus PAKI. So that was changed. That was changed very quick, sharp, but that's how it started. So
they didn't know about it until it just rendered. So
a rough start for all involved there in the graphics department. But there was a bit of a bat off, although it was there between Harris, Bancroft, and Renshaw batting 1, 2, and was Renshaw 3 or 4? I think it might have been 4 actually. But Renshaw finished 136 red. Yeah. Bancroft 50, Harris 49. I think it might have been. So does that mean anything? Probably not, because they're going to get a test against
Slug 20 odd red.
Hey, how are you, Slug?
Then the covers blew off.
The covers blew off in a hell of a week for Australian cricket ground staff, generally speaking.
But last time I saw Renshaw score a ton v Pakistan, there was a luminary in the press box who didn't look up once and instead was looking up Baltimore Orioles box scores.
That's only a very small. Well, now, who in Australian cricket likes their baseball?
It was just funny to see this is how it works. Probably spent a lot of tons in his time.
Yeah. That also might have been the same game or same summer where Warner hit 100 in a session.
No, that was the next series.
Yeah, okay. Well, they all blend into one, don't they?
But that was when Renshaw was like 19, fielding at 1. Hitting hundreds at the SCG.
Yeah. Running weird. He got a weird gait.
Yeah, but I think he's better. He's better for that run now, Renshaw. I wouldn't be surprised if he's close.
I agree. Also, he was there for the Ashes, and he also played instead of Travis Head in the Border-Gavaskar series.
Yeah, they like him
before they made that change, because Warner hurt his elbow, didn't he? Was it elbow? Is that what he hurt? By Warner
in Delhi?
Was it? Yeah, was it Delhi?
Yeah. He got cracked by Shami.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No good.
Siraj.
So, you're not seeing conversation. Again, this is all about, this is when you know it's good, because Australia only looking at themselves. How can we make our very good team even more perfect? And I love, I do think that this level of arrogance where, look at what the team has won and the year they've had, but it's still I think he is a cunt. So that's going to be my issue now. And I want to just shift the chairs around just a little bit, just get my fantasy team right. Who's got the best impact player points so it fits into my perfect little world.
You're talking with the test team here?
Yeah, just Australian cricket generally.
Yeah, people just aren't still it's amazing online to see a lot of reaction with this Warner stuff as well. A lot of people still they've just drawn the line in the sand. They don't like the side. Is that a generational thing? You look at SMH online, The Age online, responses to articles, and it's just anti-Warner deluxe. Well, then you go on Reddit and it's just the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I think that because of the, again, not even polarizing, the distaste that many people have with Warner, I think Johnson's article almost gave that it was almost like a message board to then leave your anger towards him, despite, in my opinion, Johnson's complete lack of point or validity with his argument.
He launched the anti-Warner campaign.
Yeah, right.
Basically, the people who, for the next 3 tests, are going to ensure that Warner is, and those who have appreciated his work, are always going to be reminded that he's behaved poorly at different times, and basically want to make his life, at least in media terms, a living hell until he retires because of their grandstanding over who he is or who he's been.
The other thing in the article, going back to that about like, he's never fully apologised or never fully owned sandpaper. It's like no one has been more punished than David Warner. If you even remove the fact that like the bans themselves, again, my opinion, were a fucking joke. Or a year in jail for what happened. And then he's still punished forever for never being able to captain any side despite
for
leading
many
IPL
people,
winning teams, etc.
No punishment will be enough.
Yeah,
they'll just want to see him suffer. People can't walk and chew gum because
fucking absurd argument.
He has carried on in the past. He's
he's
an abrasive character.
Yeah.
I think most mature adults can like shrug their shoulders and go, yeah, no, don't rate it that much.
Yeah.
Good cricketer, not the greatest fan.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like get my knickers in a twist about it at all times and ensure that he doesn't enjoy his send off because I don't think he's been justifiably punished enough. I mean, who's owned sandpaper more than Warner?
Yeah.
Plenty of blokes, I reckon, in that side are very grateful for the extent to which he's owned it, and that might come out later. And I also thought that Warner's response to Johnson at the Fox launch where he was like, he's entitled to his opinion, I thought that was very appropriate. I think if anybody is reserving the right to bring a second side to a story, it's David Warner. So he's sitting there just like chin stroking going, yes, Mitch, I suppose I must concede that you do have your own view about something.
Imagine sitting Warner down and be like, so David, what's your side of the story?
That's right. Is Mitch entitled to another side of the story on something? So he's like, so I don't know. I think it's kind of fun.
Anyway, I suppose the question remains about who is going to replace Warner at the end of this Pakistan series. I mean, like, you're just looking at the bowling attack and like, I think Warner's got a pretty good chance of doing enough to get himself to Sydney, just a 50 here and there, maybe an 80, he's going to get himself to Sydney to play the last test match. But if that is his last test match, then who does replace him? And there's been a conversation about, just you pick your top 6 batters in the country, and Cameron Green would be in the conversation in that top 6 if Marsh plays instead of Green in the first 3 test matches here. Now, I saw Mark Waugh suggest that they should be looking at Cameron Green to open the batting. That to me suggests that like this is part of the reason why Warner has continued to have a lean run but not be replaced, because the incumbents of Bancroft, Harris, and even Renshaw, it's like it's not quite there, is it? Doesn't feel like it's quite there. Now Green opening the batting to me feels like that doesn't feel right to me.
There's a lot of people talking about they're worried about strike rates and stuff. It's like, so we need a like-for-like replacement. I mean, what did we learn out of Shane Warne? There's no like-for-like. I'm not saying Warne is the equivalent of Shane Warne, but it's like when players leave, you don't just look for like some cardboard cutout replacement. You just find a new way to do your cricket team. Like when Warner started, Travis Head wasn't in the side. There's strike rate there. Like Mitch Marsh is coming lower. Like I do think Australian selectors are like they make some of the most conservative selections and have done for time immemorial. It's served them well. I suspect that they'll just replace Warner with the next cab off the rank. We have a cab rank system in Australian cricket. But I have also noted that there seems to be due to Andrew McDonald comments, like a swirl of conversation about whether Mitch Marsh steps up there and Australia adopts a Bazball adjacent style of cricket, which seems to be the direction Australia's going as well. Because they really, really, really want to get Cameron Green into the side. So that's an interesting one. I think so much could change between now and that test in Adelaide against the West Indies. I mean, Mitch Marsh deserves to be the 6. It's his spot at the moment. What can he offer with the ball these days, Mitch Marsh, which is part of that job? Can his body stand up to that over 3 tests? Maybe it can. I think by the time Adelaide rolls around, things could have changed. Alex Malcolm noted today, I noticed again, he's always really on with this kind of stuff. Like if they want to get Lance Morris into the side, who's not used to bowling really long spells, do you have to back him up with an all-rounder who can bowl 15 overs, for example? Right. Can Mitch Marsh bowl 15 overs? Doubt it. If like Mitch Marsh has barely played like 2 first-class games in a row for ages. So I think there's a lot of body rig shit that'll come into this before we even get to Adelaide.
They also play hardly any test matches next year. They've got the Sydney Test, and they've got in this summer they play 5 tests, 3 against Pakistan, 2 against the West Indies, and they've got 2 against New Zealand, and then nothing at all until India come out here next year for 5 test matches. So there's not a whole lot of work to be to put into the legs for the test match guys, which again to the point of like who should replace Warner, getting more test matches in to like a Bancroft or Renshaw or whatever. there's not a whole lot of time before India come out here again. And obviously, they'll be desperate to win that one, having lost twice in a row to India out here. So, you know, those are all things that are happening. I believe the team that we're playing against is Pakistan. And Abrar Ahmed, who's taken 38 poles in 6 tests so far, he's out of the Perth test, maybe out of the whole tour after a knee injury in the PM's 11 game. So Noman Ali will lead the spin attack. He's taken 47 poles in 15 tests. He's a left arm orthodox. And that's going to be some of the easiest milking of runs you've ever seen, Pezza. Smith and Marnus just working it to the leg side, just pushing one to point, just ticking it over, just letting it all wash over you.
Yeah, just hearing the cavernous fucking din of stadium, people in Perth just chatting about God knows what. We've kissed the JL ring. He's given his endorsement of the test. It's the West test now. He's behind it. And it's going to be Marnus milking to leg, isn't it?
Yeah,
really.
Marnus milking to leg.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Well, the attack is going to be Shaheen Afridi. Hassan Ali is probably going to play as well. Then it's Mir Hamza and Muhammad Wasim, maybe, who's got a little bit about him.
Yeah, that's
a little bit about him. But you're looking at your second, third, fourth spells, and it's like, just ease yourself into the summer, Australia.
Yeah, when the Amazon test, Doco comes out with season 7 or whatever it is, it's just that the pre-game chat's just going to be like, get him into his third spell, fourth spell. Let's see if he can crank it up then.
side of the
He's
mouth.
He's a great player, Shah Afridi. It would have been fucking awesome if you'd had, Harris Rauf and Nazim Shah with him.
Yeah.
I mean, Harris Rauf is here, but he's
he chose a high
green.
He chose
another green.
He chose a high profile competition.
Who's he playing for in grade cricket, Harris Rauf?
Pezza, do you ever get frustrated you cannot watch certain live sports events because they aren't being televised in your country? Well, with NordVPN, I can switch my virtual location to a country that is showing said live sports event I want to watch so I don't miss out and can watch the action live. Also, Pezza, being on the brink of global recession, as you know, and as we often talk about here in the studio, being on the brink of global recession, the world is going a bit crazy, so I need to cut back on some spending and save some money whilst protecting myself online with NordVPN. That helps me save money as well as protect myself and my family from cybercrime, okay? I can change my virtual location and sign up for a subscription service via other countries and pay a cheaper price, e.g. sign up to Netflix whilst being in Mexico or other places around the world that aren't Mexico. It's much cheaper than in the US or the UK. Also, you can book flights and holidays via another country and pay less, so NordVPN essentially pays for itself. You can grab an exclusive NordVPN deal by going to the custom URL through the episode show notes to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. You can go to nordvpn.com/TGC. nordvpn.com/TGC.
Are you suggesting that in Australia there may be certain new subscription services you need to sign up to in order to watch certain content that you want to watch in light of recent events, but you may actually have other options through NordVPN? That's right. Is that what you're suggesting?
So, for instance, if you want to watch the national team play in like international tournaments, but you don't of repute, like one specifically that might mean that they have every single trophy available at the one time, possibly, but you don't have the current streaming service, you can use nordvpn.com/TGC to access other ways and maybe get that a bit cheaper or even free.
And you so through the advertisement that you have just provided, people may actually be able to essentially make money or save money through using NordVPN and the code TGC.
Well, it's nordvpn.com/TGC is there.
Well, apologies for the value again.
Hey, speaking of value, let's talk about the Big Bash before we get Will Sutherland and Fergus O'Neill in the studio here.
BBL.
Okay, Renegade Scorchies last night. Red versus Orange last night. Called off after 6 overs due to shit tip. Reason, shit tip.
Result, shit tip.
Now, Pezza, we've seen some shit tips over the years.
Oh, fucking oath we have.
This was dangerous shit tip. Do you remember last year at the Gabba against South Africa? That became a little bit silly. That was getting nearly dangerous shit tip. But this was Big Bash shit tip.
No, only other countries have bad pitches. Not us.
Not us. We don't. And how come when you do, you never call it out? except for when you do it right now and you call it a shit tip. Yeah, pretty grim last night in Geelong. Obviously, heaps of rain knocking about, but shit tip. It's fun to say.
My favourite, like I just put my kids to bed and done various like chores around the house, and I call them chores, and then just sat down to turn the BBL on. As is my want, as is all of our want, mate.
What do you want?
It is
of a Sunday evening.
And that is a good thing about the BBL.
Yeah.
That it really is. It's like, it's on, you turn it on, it washes.
Who's on tonight? Red versus orange.
It is like that. And that's, I'm pretty happy with that. It's a vulnerable thing to say.
Yeah.
But sitting down and there's some cricket on, taking the coverage that you like, and let it wash over you. I did that, and I tuned in as they were off the field. I think they must have only come off like 15 minutes before that or something, and you could just hear like a little tension in the voice of punter and James Brayshaw. When we get into that area of life, you know, in cricket, where people start, you know, pontificating on, I think what should we call it? You know, it's a joke versus get on with it dichotomy of cricket.
It's a tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. It's a joke versus get on with it, depending on what suits you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could, as I heard punter use the classic prefixes like if you've played the game. I'm like, oh, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Now my shirt's off and I'm waving it over my head.
Exactly. Oh, they've played a game.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Just taking my towel off and I'm waving it like an NBA bencher.
And it was like paired with the footage of Will Sutherland, who we'll speak to soon, ruining the game.
Like it's a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Pairing it with
the highlights of Sutho bowling it into the drenched wet patch.
Yes.
And it was the take of Quinton de Kock that did me. Like Quinton de Kock, basically, Quinton de Kock could have won the World Cup with South Africa and would still look like he would prefer to go fishing.
Wants to go fishing.
But you know, he's obviously out here with the Gates, just having a game.
Obviously,
yeah, just about.
Yeah.
He's got his pads inside his pants, and he's just like does he drop a catch in the lead up to it as well? The inside edge. Well, there was a noise. He drops one, but then there's one to Josh English. Sorry, and
Josh English,
and he couldn't have caught the ball more nonchalantly before burying his face inside the glove.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's like this.
It's like, oh god!
And I thought, that's probably when you know. That
I wish I was playing on the IL-20.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it's called.
So that was a shame. Do you buy in to? This is just an embarrassment for the BBL.
Well, Pezzo, once you've played the game, I have, and I remember my old coach. His name was Rod Becker, and it was just they made the right call. It's just unfortunate in the same week where like the covers have blown off Monica, and then there's a washout in Adelaide the night before, and then this game. It feels like it's compounded effect.
It's like one of the easiest things to bash the BBL.
This feels like it wasn't like underprepared. Yeah. It was just it just pissed it down and it was wet and it was like taking divots out of it. So
Vaughan came out and said they should put more covers on. Like instead of one, like use two. Happens too often. More covers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a reference there to a condom, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there. I don't know how to sort of access it. The old...
It's like me to the leg side. Just couldn't access it.
That's right. It's
I put it in the cricket terms there for you. I don't know, man. I don't. Okay, here was my experience of watching it. I was watching Schitt's Creek, and then I got bored.
Is that a rewatch?
I've never watched it before, but
okay.
LJ's been watching it again. So
meant to get good, like second season or something.
Do you know what, mate? Unpopular opinion. I don't really like it.
Yeah, no. So I watched 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and I didn't like it. But then everyone's like, no, you got to stick with it,
mate. I'm up to season 6. It's the last season. I'm hanging in there.
Hasn't got good. Yeah, so you're watching Schitt's Creek.
Anyway, so watching Schitt's Creek, and then I got bored, and then so I went on Instagram. A couple of dances there, a couple of TikToks. Shitmates with some commentary. Yeah. I'm into it now. Now I'm laughing. Now I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
And then I scroll
one eye on Schitt's Creek. Sorry.
Sort of.
Yeah. Okay. But just
and then
dances.
And then I see a highlight of Will Sutherland bowling a ball that basically bounces over Josh English.
Yeah.
Or was it Josh English?
No, it's gone. His name's gone.
And then I'm interested. So I didn't see the whole experience of it. So I don't know how much of a shit tip it was. But I've seen the package where like it's like a decking all over the place, and then the ball like
it's gone. It was no good.
Like the one that calls the game off is actually genuinely dangerous. Like if that
Oh, there's no discussion. I like, as in,
So how did that happen? I don't know because I wasn't watching the game.
Yeah, it was a very bad wet patch.
Yeah, right. Okay. So who's to blame there?
Covers.
Immigrants.
Yeah. So have you got into the BBL much to commence with?
I watched the game on Friday night. I watched the Sixers and
Gates.
Wow, yeah, I watched Pink versus Red.
Yeah,
and that was good. I enjoyed that. I watched a little bit of Colin Munro's innings on the first night.
Oh yeah,
and Rocket Man. So that's been my consumption so far.
Yeah, I only caught second innings of Heat
Stars. Yeah, they got pumped by 113.
Yeah,
runs.
so I missed Colin's innings. I caught Mitch Swepson's salad looking really good.
Yeah, looks good.
Some throwback highlight to Amy Shark bowling cricket ball.
Yep.
I'm fine with it. Robo guy. And I was having a laptop, so I had KO going and just them talking about the English import Paul Walter, and they call him Tall Paul.
Right. That rhymes.
He's 6'8", and they call him Tall Paul, and his pants are too short for him at the bottom of the pant there.
Yeah.
So
do you know what I call him?
His pants are too short.
I'd call him Tiny.
Yeah. So Swepson salad, Amy Shark, Robo guy, Tall Paul, and
Summer's here, baby.
A couple other things to notice in all seriousness. BBL is also something that like where numbers are dropping down in front of your eyes, like Galifianakis there. Like like I saw after the first night that it was reported that like Seven had reported bumper ratings, 1.9 million people tuning in nationwide to the first game.
Feels like a lot.
I also saw somebody write that more people watched Bill Bailey on ABC. And I just feel like the BBL's attracting its own culture of like, look, I don't know I don't have the time to delve into these. Anyone CA want to let me know or whatever, but like, and independent industry experts, but like, you never know if it's going well. A lot of people will tell you it's going well. People won't. People will tell it's going terribly. It's just like it's creating its own economy of that kind of thing.
It feels like when I go to the mechanic and they look at me and they tell me the things that are going wrong and how dumb I am for not realizing that they're going wrong. But it's like, but I don't know what these things mean because I'm not a mechanic. So it feels the same thing with ratings. It's like you say a number, it's like, is that good?
Yeah.
What's good?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Cool story. Cool story in that, like Ben Dwarshuis in the Sixers. His dad passed away recently. Played a great. He turned out for the Sixers. A lot of guys getting around him deluxe for that. Played a really good game. But shout out to Ben. Thinking of you.
Do you know what? Just with the Sixers and the Scorchies, they're clearly the two best teams again. Which has been like 4 years in a row. Is that right? That they've played against each other.
Well, Adelaide haven't had a game yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fair enough. I guess what I'm saying is the Sixers look good. Good win against the Reds, against the Red team, and Scorchies will consistently be good because they have good players.
Glenn Maxwell, Rashid Khan's out.
Yeah.
This was reported a little while ago.
That's going to hurt.
That's going to hurt.
Adelaide blue.
Maxi got injured, so he's out a couple games.
Yep.
But he's commentating.
Yeah. And Zampa took a spell as well last night.
Yes, Zampa's been managed.
Yeah. Burnt out from the World Cup. I read some quotes this morning. So like it's taking its toll.
He's been doing a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, he was injured for the entire World Cup, and whilst carrying the side to stay in the tournament. So I thought that was good as well that he did that. He kept playing.
So that's the BBL wrap.
It's just so happening. There's a game every night. I'm checking every week.
I'm still open to it. Like we still all want it to go well. Still is the domestic franchise product. Yeah, and like it's easy. It's easy to laugh at it.
Yeah,
I think it's because like particularly with what's happened in the World Cup, we just always expect in Australia that everything we have here is the best thing. Yeah. And when it's not the best thing, when it's like third, fourth, sixth order domestic franchise tournament, it's got a little cartoonish feel, a different kind of strategy.
Yep.
It's not the peak of cricket. I think it doesn't sit well with Australian audiences. But there's we could delve into this for ages. Like having covered the IPL for a couple of years as well, like the grounds in Australia are big. You don't get as many sixes.
Yeah.
It's harder to fill the ground and give it the sense of it being like really heavily watched as well. Do Australian cricket fans, like match-going fans, consume cricket on a league basis, a night-by-night thing? Obviously in Perth they do. Big deal. I don't know. What do we want? Are we we're not going to settle until every game is sold out, and it's like, and it is the main thing in summer. It's hard to say.
It's funny, isn't it? Having watched, like, you know, consumed the IPL for a number of years, but not just that, but just coming off the back of the Indian World Cup. And then you go to the Australian grounds and, like, fuck, the grounds feel enormous.
Yeah.
Like, enormous. Like, and how hard it is to hit, like, consecutive boundaries or, like, 3 boundaries in and over. So, like, if they, you know, you look at, like, how, especially in the IPL, how far teams can chase from behind. Two overs left, 38 to win.
Yeah.
You're nearly back in the batting team most times there. Whereas in Australia, like, it's got to be down to, like, 20 off 12, you know?
When the Heat made 200 plus in the first game, like,
huge score.
This is purely anecdotal and feel no data behind it, so I
now
could
we're
well be
talking.
wrong.
Yeah,
but like, but I feel like in other leagues, like the team batting second can take that deep with skill and expertise, and there are structures that assists it. Whereas so often in the BBL, if the team batting first gets away, it's like a good night, nurse.
Good night, nurse.
You know, I'm going to bed now. But yeah.
It's only 7:15.
You go to bed early. He's like, yeah, well, it's game over. It's game over now.
Yeah, but the cricket match is finished.
I don't know, but I do. It is easy to kind of get stuck into the BBL. I'm not.
No, I've still got hope for it.
Yeah, I got hope.
All right, here is Will Sutherland and Fergus O'Neill.
This interview with 2 young bucks on the couch is brought to you by Shane Watson's Winning the Inner Battle. Now, we have an endorsement for this book that goes beyond your voice and my voice, he goes, as
people have had enough.
Guys who've played a few grades of cricket, every grade. We're actually sitting here with Will Sutherland, who has just said off air, I kid you not, I swear by this book. This is Shane Watson's Winning the Inner Battle, a cricket book, ostensibly a cricket book, helping with the psychology of the game, but I'd say life as well. Will, what's the book done for you?
Actually has done a lot. Great marketing for the book here, but yeah, mental skills probably gets under talked about in cricket, and yeah, it's revolutionised my T20 game. So would definitely endorse it, and reckon everyone should read it if they get a chance.
How about that? Winning the Battle, ShaneWatson.au. Forget the .com in that. Straight from the horse's mouth. Will Sutherland hit 4 sixes the other night. Watto's doing the business for everybody. That's Shane Watson winning the Inner Battle. Okay, unprofessional of me to actually introduce you, Will, before you even...
he has to go now.
Yeah, you actually have to go, Will. but on the couch today, we've got a couple of young bucks from the Gades, from Victorian cricket, Fergus O'Neill, Will Sutherland, a couple of fucking rigs and some salad as well.
Fuck, there's some handshakes.
In the flesh, there's some handshakes.
There was some handshakes. Let's pop my shoulder out.
It's a forearm.
Fucking
Tap me up.
Boys, welcome to the couch.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited.
You say you have a flat, kind of monotone voice as you say that. Are you being sincere?
No, yeah. Sorry, I'll up it. Very, very excited.
And Will, you have a good corporate posture as you sit there. You're gripping your hands nicely. Is that a lineage thing? You look very assured. You are the captain of Victoria, to be fair. So I don't mean to be rude, but it looks its presence. You know,
fake it till you make it, sort of stuff.
Let's jump straight in. A lot of things to talk about on this show, but let's jump straight into it as we record. We're 12 hours after scenes down there at Geelong last night, where the game was called off between the Scorchers and the Renegades. And I just want to put the first question to you, Will. Why'd you do it? Why did you have to go and bash that drenched length, unlike anybody else?
Oh, look, it was cold. Thought I was going to get lined up. Didn't want to bat on it. Wanted to get home. Plenty of reasons there. So just tilted the seam, thought I'd nibble a few, and rest is history.
We were just talking earlier about like the way Quinton de Kock actually received the ball, said everything you needed to know about what the boys wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
enough's enough.
Yeah, he received it with such nonchalance. You know, he was just like, it just puts his glove over his face. I can't imagine there were too many players out there saying, "Nah, like let's actually get on with it, boys."
Especially not with Jai Richardson at the other, going to be steaming in. That's what I was speaking to Quinny after the game, and he's like, mate, and Joe Clark actually, like, we saved ourselves there. Like, Sutto's team man, and he's done the team thing there, because those balls, like, to a left-hander at whatever Jai bowls, 145, that could have been the end for a couple of the boys.
But what do you say to, Warhammer 69 on Twitter, who says, "Boys, you just got to You just got to get on with it, you know. We're you know, us non-professionals are really sick of hearing professional players
just wanna
say,
watch
"Oh,
the
look,
game."
look, if you know, if you've actually played the game, you understand that's really dangerous." I mean, I'm watching at home. I've got Doritos dropping onto my belly. I just want to, you know, have a night in front of the box, you know, like just forget about the strains of life.
I did read one this morning. Bradman would have been turning in his grave. Boys, no lid. We would have got on with it back in my day.
they played on uncovered pitches all the time.
Yeah, I got a message as well, actually, from Sarge, Jimmy Seymour, and he was telling me, he's like, there's no difference to 4-day test variable bounce. Like, what about the cracks on the whacker? Like, some of the stuff you see
It's a good point.
it's outrageous.
Yeah.
I think we were very lucky that we bowled first last night.
Game's gone soft.
At what point, like, do you think, like, oh, we probably shouldn't be on this anymore? Was it just that ball that you bowled, like the last one that you bowled to Inglis? Was that like the tipping point? Was that straw that broke the camel's back, or was there like sorry before the game when you're sticking your fucking digit into the wicket on a shit tip?
Yeah, look, you could have probably called it a bit earlier than that.
Okay,
ball.
yeah.
That one
Very
exploded
measured
more
response.
than
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
else, and you got the response from Ingo there. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have played any cricket on it last night if I was a match ref, but
Yeah. Well, Inglis has just won the World Cup as well, so what he says goes. Like, he has a lot of
exactly.
weight, a lot of social capital there. Like, if he's like swinging and missing, just hit 100 in India as well in one of the 5 T20s that apparently happened afterwards. So, like, if he's not hitting it, then what are we doing here? You know?
yeah, I did say to him, a bit different to the subcontinent this one, mate. Did a bit of classic bant there, and he didn't take it too well. So
Off you went.
Yeah.
And you boys must have been gutted. It was called off. I presume straight onto the bus and home for an early night.
I was so upset.
Yeah, I was tired. I wanted to go to sleep. So,
I saw you walking onto the wicket with a tin in your hand.
I was considering it, to be honest. The first thing I did on the bus was have a few cans, so it was perfect.
And after, you guys do anything afterwards, or just straight back to the hotel?
It was we you know, the new 10-day breaks is coming at a perfect time, so I thought it was rude not to invest in a bit of team bonding, I think we'll call that. So,
investment.
Investment till all hours, which was great. I'm feeling a little bit this morning, but it was worth it.
Hey, 10-day break.
10-day break.
10-day break.
Exactly right.
Did Quinny come out with the boys as well?
Nah, we wanted him to, but I was trying to get him to the casino, but he ended up staying home. Sakesy was telling me Quinny shout at the casino. He just signed this massive deal for Lucknow or whatever they're called. So yeah, I was hoping to tag along with him, but I ended up tagging along with a few of the other boys, so it was good.
Nice one. Speaking of like deals in India, Will, your sister's just gone for 400K. Run me through. People want to know this. Where are we at vis-a-vis the sort of pecking order of the family? Your captain Victoria, Gades, working under Watto, up and coming. Where are you coming in? Sort of 3 or 4 in the family in terms of achievements?
Look, I think after last night, officially the black sheep of the family. Probably below the dog. So what's that? Rank 6. Look, pretty good there from Belsy. So we're watching at the dinner table and.
Everyone is watching, yeah?
Everyone's
watching, yeah.
Were you was she there as well?
She was
the
there,
family,
yeah.
Because a lot of players claim they're not watching the auction. It's like, I just woke up.
I've
just gone for 400.
Okay,
I don't really, my manager just tells me.
Where am I playing?
Yeah, that's all.
Where am I playing? Yeah.
Were you watching it just for the Chris Kringle value going up for the family Christmas this year? 400K all of a sudden.
Yeah.
$50 not enough for me, Bells.
Yeah, hopefully a little, she can just slide something my way.
Can you, maybe this is getting into private family areas too much, but what does it look like when the family, you said family sitting around a dinner table watching the WPL auction, and your sister's there. So what is the chat? What do you, as it's going on? There's paddles going up. Is there? And you're only going to give away what you're going to give away. But
no, we can go deep into the family dynamics here. It was a Christmas dinner because obviously Annabelle's going to India, so it was the last time we'll be together as a family.
That's nice.
Maybe that was tactical because it was auction night, so maybe Dad organised it so we can all watch the auctions. But no, we just had dinner and then gathered around the family table and got the KO out and.
100-inch TV.
Started counting our cash. Told the butler to clear the plates. And, all good.
Is it I didn't catch it. the auction? Are we looking at bidding wars? Was there a couple of
Yeah.
suitors
Multiples,
at play?
I think that's the keys, and I think there was a little three-way going on at one point, which obviously, like the house auction, that's what you want, isn't it? So kept forcing her price up, and yeah, I think she woke up with full pockets the next day. So good on her.
I've heard from a few of the boys that there's a bit of a alpha off between some of the owners. So like whoever it is,
perfect.
doesn't like such and such, and it's just like, nah, I want Belsy.
Personal vendetta.
Personal vendetta,
Yeah.
bang, bang, bang. So that's exactly what you need.
Swap it out, sort of stuff.
Exactly right.
Now we're talking.
Okay. Building into it.
Will, there's a lineage of Sutherlands on this podcast, and in fact, in terms of ranking systems, you've got the bronze medal because we've had your dad on.
Yep.
We've had Annabelle on, and now it's your turn. And I believe there's some sort of history here about you wanting to come on to avenge, maybe not avenge, it's quite an aggressive word, but like, avenge for the sins of your father on this podcast in the eyes of yourself. Like, I thought he was quite good when he came on the show, but apparently not in the Sutherland household.
I listened to it.
Yeah.
He played straight, that's for sure. Maybe I can play a few more shots than he did.
Yeah.
Lift the strike rate a little bit. But very diplomatic as always, the old boy.
Yeah. Well, he told us when he was head of Cricket Australia at the time, he did say that the BCCI champed him, which was quite a good memory, to be fair.
Well, I think what actually happened was that, like, I asked, do you get champed by the BCCI? And there's a chance that he may not have understood what I'd said and kind of just muttered like, yes. Yeah. Maybe he knew exactly what I said, but maybe you wouldn't want to comment on that ahead. There's IPL auctions coming up. You're playing well, so.
Getting matches called off, you're a powerful man.
Oh, look, I don't know. I'll see. I'll see what he can do for me there.
That's good. There's a bit of boycott stuff there early. Yeah. Fergus, I noticed the other day on the coverage of the Sixers Renegades game, they kept crossing to Nathan Lyon, and at one point he said, like, I'll have some very interesting company to my right, and it was you sitting there. Are you able to divulge why he might have referred to your company as interesting?
That's a great question.
Thanks.
No, Gaz is the man. I haven't had much to do with him, played against him once, but yeah, he's got a few stories for me. I was sharing a few stories with him, and he stitched me up there. He said he made sure he come and sat next to me, and he said, when I'm on the coverage, I'm gonna try and get you involved. But it's pretty daunting when they've got the mic on and you're chatting a bit of dross with the boys, and then he's going, stop, I'm on now. So I had to watch my tongue there for a little bit, but yeah, it's pretty cool to be talking shit with and being around the GOAT. He's been great so far.
Yeah, it must have been amazing, like your rise, generally speaking, like getting into the Victorian side, first wicket in first-class cricket, Travis Head, he's pretty good. Then getting yourself into a contract in the BBL, has it been like, do you feel like it's been a steady progression? Because in my consumption of you anyway, in your career so far, it has been quite meteoric, I suppose. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, very much so. I think I was just pretty happy to be there early doors.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, probably very lucky to get Heady out. I bowled him a off-the-pitch half volley, which he slayed me a few times, but then nicked one to Petey.
Well, that's how you get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was...
Sort of set him up, yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Wide plan.
Wide plan. But yeah, no, as you said, it's kind of just steadily taking one step at a time, and now to get the soft seat for the Renegades and watch the boys go about it, hopefully for the season, for a good season, would be optimal. Sneak in for a game, maybe.
Yeah.
You're being humble. You got your top wicket taker for Victoria this year. You're 23 in 5 games. Why do you call yourself Brownless?
I don't know how. I reckon it was Marcus Harris who's called me that, but I used to be a landscaper, have the rush hour on, listening to the radio at work, and Billy would go on a big rant about something, and they'd call him Rambling Brownless, and then they'd go on about, he'd give a tip, Geelong will win by 24 this weekend, and we'd call him Tips to Brownless, and then I took that to the nth degree. Everything was Brownless, and then I brought that in when I first come in. And Marcus Harris, he's got unbelievable ability to have a nickname stick, and so now I'm Brownless, which is, I actually don't mind it, to be honest. I was hoping he was going to be at the game yesterday. I would have loved to cash in there.
Like we're two Sydney boys, so like we follow the footy, right? But it didn't like grow up with it. A couple of years ago, I went down to Cardinia for a Swans Cats game, and with my wife who'd just bought some hot chips, and Billy Brownless who I don't know. He just, like, in the crowd, like outside the ground, we were just walking into the ground. He just walked past and just took a chip off my wife. He just took it and kept walking. You know, everyone chuckled. And my wife, who, like, she just wouldn't cop shit from anybody at any time. Even she, like, copped it. She's like, oh, there's Billy Brownlow. I just don't really like. He just has that, like, cult
he's
status.
the man.
He could walk up to anyone and just take a hot chip of somebody he doesn't know.
Yeah.
100%.
That's power.
Are you a cat as well? You cat? I
Nah.
know your cats.
Yeah.
I'm a kanga, so I try and speak little and little about footy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But we have to, because you both play cricket for Victoria, so obviously footy first
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were quite a good footy player, weren't you?
Yeah, we'll run with that.
See,
Southern's burning there.
Yeah, see,
not happy.
Pez and I talking about this the other day. One of the great things cricket does to you is that, like, if you can't say you're good at anything. Like, you guys are obviously good cricketers, but you obviously live in your own
can't say.
circle. You can never say, like, I'm good at cricket. Like, if I asked either of you two now, like, are you guys good at cricket? You'd be like, you get uncomfortable in the seat. Like, same with footy. So, like, because you played in the Coates Talent League, right? So that's pretty good. But then there'll be guys listening to this who might play in the AFL, for instance, and they'll be like, if this fucking cunt says he's good.
Exactly.
So that's a great lesson from cricket.
100%. I think the more I don't play footy, the better I've become, which has been good. But yeah, everyone's dream is footy early doors, isn't it? Like, even
Shane
just-
Warne, like, just go all the way.
We go to the.
Exactly.
I remember a funny story actually. I was at a nightclub and I was with Mitch Marsh was just somehow there with us. I don't know how it ended up happening, but we walked in and we were there. There was a few of us, and, like, I'm with Mitch Marsh. Like, I've never really don't know him very well, and I'm like, fuck, this is the greatest. Like, how good's this? I'm expecting him to be, like, absolute royalty. Like, no one. We're at Electric. No one really even, like, acknowledged him. Maybe, like, one or two, like, cricket nuffies, like, come up for a photo.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like Mason Wood or someone like from St Kilda, and it was like the fucking red carpet was rolled out. And like, oh, they're taking photos of him. I was like, you know, I'm a Kanga, so I like Mason Wood. Well, not anymore. He's at the Saints, but, like, I could not believe it. That's like it's what it is here in Victoria, though, isn't it? Like, footy is just levels above.
Yeah.
So though, like, you're waiting patiently there as well. Like, the people in Victoria just fucking burning, you know, for, like, your footy versus cricket dream narrative, you know, like, because I understand you could play the code a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's would have to be my most asked question over the years.
Yeah,
would be,
do you love it? Do you love getting that question?
Yeah, all the time. It's
And
like
your
when someone
dad as well,
comes up
like,
and says, "Oh, geez, you're tall."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tall. Yeah, like, you're short.
Yeah, we saw Cam Green. We asked him if he was wrapped, you know, just to talk about the tall stuff.
Fuck, you're big, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, they love their footy here, so yeah, good on them. But it's been great for me in terms of bargaining power, obviously.
Where are we at in terms of the Victorian team? Like, you know, you talk to the English boys and they obviously all prefer to be playing football. Yeah. Where are we at in terms of, like, footy skill, attainment, who could have played, who did play? We got power rankings.
I think when it's raining, that's probably one of our first activities is you go straight to the whiteboard and draw the overlap and who's playing what position. You know, blokes are saying,
so
get me on the ball. Like,
Yeah.
I've got a tank. I'll run all day. Like, it's very
It's proper.
very serious. Like, oh,
Yeah, I know it's serious. There's no humour in footy.
David Crone, he shouldn't be sent half back. He can't use the ball. Like,
Yeah, you can't use
There's a lot of controversy there. Like, how is he fucking it forward pocket, like, going off?
Yeah.
Going off. It's good. But before he continues, he's pretty humble. But I think it's Sutho, power ranking 1.
Yeah.
Will Parker,
Okay.
power ranking 2.
Yep.
don't sell yourself short, Brownless.
Yeah, I'll take 3 or 4.
Okay. Go through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go 3. Pick 3.
Yeah.
Loose in defence.
The rest don't matter. The rest weren't very good. Who else?
Mitch Perry. He'll
Oh
pop
yeah,
himself
Mitch Perry.
Yes.
Yeah, if he ever comes on here,
Cankles though, he wouldn't have
he reckons he's the greatest. He runs at 8.5 minute 2K. So I got no idea how he's going to be any good at footy, but
Yeah,
he's pretty
of
happy
course.
with himself.
This is the most serious X's and O's conversation we've ever had on this podcast.
Ferg, interview on Code Sports with Paul Amy a couple of weeks ago. Good interview, or recently. It was. I'm not sure exactly when. Adam Dale, big influence
last year.
on you. Beautiful swinger of the ball as well. What sort of roles he played in your career?
Yeah, he was very early doors.
Yeah.
When I was at Melbourne, he was the coach. Whitey was the captain, and yeah, Dummer was good. He was very, very old school, front arm high and wrist behind it.
I love him playing ODIs for Australia.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
It was probably comforting to see someone that doesn't bowl 150 and is 6'5" to have had the career that he had. So yeah, he was good for me, just reassuring me that little blokes can do it as well. So no, it was good. He was very good, but yeah, just very old school, kept it simple. Loved to run though. Geez, we did lots of running.
Yeah.
Albert Park Lake killed us.
Like, yep. And I also have read in this piece that when you were 13, you hit a century for a Flemington Colts senior team in the Northwest Metro Cricket Association, and your dad, Peter, cracked a ton in the same match.
Yeah.
Father, son, day in the sun. Now,
Yeah, that was we played the biggest bunch of Muppets of all time. Like, I'm not even joking when I say there was like grandmas rolling out off spin, like it was outrageous. So it was disgrace from my old man to be smacking some old grandmas around. But yeah, I was 13 getting 100. That probably tells you the level. It wasn't great playing on Mattings in Flemington, but that was
your
good
dad,
fun.
that must have been a great moment for your dad. You wouldn't have had a Scooby-Doo. What was going
Nah,
on.
exactly. Yeah, he was probably loving it. He would have been launching, but nah, feels like a long time ago now. But yeah, you don't really think about that stuff, but it's pretty cool.
Yep.
I find it hard not to draw parallels here, Sutho, but like, I mean, your family is just, fuck, there's some athletes there. It's just unbelievable lineage of athleticism. So I don't know what Ferg's talking about here, some grandma stuff, but like, I mean, like a cliche would be like, backyard battles. I don't really care about that, but like, is the entire life just been sport?
Yeah, probably has. Not much option, really. I would have slept outside if I sort of picked up a paintbrush or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, people forget you. Like,
Yeah, your
your
dad could play.
played. He
Yeah,
played. Like,
no,
he's superseded it with
Yeah.
the corporate career with Australia, but like,
Yeah.
just played for Victoria. So
Yeah.
We were watching the highlights the other day, sort of, got the front arm up, look through the window sort of stuff. Very, very old school action.
How did you find the highlights? Who brought them up?
I reckon CA obviously
Okay.
worked at CA, so he probably asked the media team to find some footage and can you post a little montage of my birthday.
Okay,
It probably
right.
came from the top. Yeah. They had no option to post it. But nah, I do have a similar story to Ferg playing with the old man. He was captain of our Mercantile Cricket Association Sunday team.
Okay.
There are a lot of Indian players and umpires, and obviously they knew Dad.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, whenever he got wrapped on the pad, he certainly wasn't going to be giving out LEW or anything like that. So
Just kicking them off middle.
yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah.
and both you boys are at the Gades. Looks like a very fun team this time round. Like, obviously you got yourself, Ferg, interesting company as referenced by Nathan Lyon. Like Zorba is with you guys this year now. Sid's Maddo's captain. There's a lot of colour, knocking around the team. Are you having fun?
I think so. I think the band's back, as they're saying in the chain rooms.
Right.
They've got plenty of war stories from over the years. We're hearing some interesting things. Obviously, Maddo, Richo and Zamps are all very close and sort of from that indie sort of colour, as you say. So we're seeing different clothes, different chat getting thrown around. So
So do they get, like, sorry to interrupt, but like from our vintage, we're looking, mid 2000s, late 2000s. Like, if anyone's knocking around with an indie kind of identity, they're immediately ostracised from the team, regarded as a rare bloke, like never to be considered for leadership or anything other than like just a peripheral role on the side.
Ostracism.
Yeah, totally. Like, it is weird. You're weird. I don't understand you. You're lucky to be
Rare.
here, kind of thing. Very, yeah. But these, like, Zampa, Richardson, Madison, that's like a leadership axis at the Gades. So how does the team react to that? Do you go with it, or is there still a sense of like, it's rare, boys?
I think they're potentially in the power there. So I think maybe the rest of the group actually has to.
If you're not rare, get out.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
I like it. This could be a big statement, but I reckon we've got comfortably the funnest team by a mile. And I'm saying that not playing for anyone else, but I look
Gades
around.
v Stars. Like, did you get any? Like, were the Stars in for you? Were you given a choice? What are your thoughts on it?
I wasn't given a choice. I was told where to go, but I'm very happy I'm at the... maybe prefer the bigger boundaries at the G, just bowling, but everything else, Gates. Like, yeah, we've got a good group. The international's pretty loose as well, so it makes it good. But as Salo said, yeah, the rare is in power, so it's get rare or get out.
Yeah. How do you go with that, Salo?
It's not me, as you'd know. Jeffrey Boycott wasn't very rare.
I reckon he's had some rare.
I've seen Salo. Salo gets rare. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's not all what you see.
He's got a facade on at the moment. He's good. He knows how to switch.
Okay, that's good. You want the gears.
Do you want the switch?
We're talking before about Quinton de Kock, who's like, he's such a down-to-earth, humble guy, like, but obviously a worldie at the same time. Played many years in the IPL, great record with South Africa, which he's just finished up with at the World Cup, right? And he's just in for a few games with you guys, the Gades, right? I just wondered, because last year the Scorchers had Faf, didn't they? And like he was just in for a few games. They obviously won it, but he played like 4 or 5 games. So I just always wondered like what their commitment level is coming out here. And I'm sure like they're professional and they want to win and stuff. But like how does a guy like Quinton de Kock fit into the group? I'll ask you so though. Like how does he fit into the group when he's only here for a short amount of time?
You probably could ask Ferg because you were talking to him a bit on the bus. But yeah, I met him for the first time on the bus yesterday. He had the playing vest on as he walked on the bus. I'm not sure he knew that's the playing vest. Why are you wearing
it's just
that?
Kit, it's just kit to him, yeah.
Yeah, I took an inside edge last night and he spilled it, so he doesn't want to be behind the stumps. I don't know. No, he's obviously a superstar and he gave plenty to Ferg on the bus. Maybe the loose units sort of merging towards each other pretty quickly there.
Okay.
Do
Do you seek that out, Ferg? Like, oh, de Kock must sort
I
of
got
get around
lucky.
that.
He rolled on the bus and sat 1 or 2 in front of me, and about 20 minutes into the bus ride to Geelong, he was blowing up, going, "Why the fuck are we driving to another state for a game? What's going on?"
How many games do we have here?
He thought that Marvel Stadium was in Geelong and that our hotel was miles away. He's like, "Why the fuck are we staying miles away? What's the hotel going on here?" But no, it was really good. Yeah, I don't know. Like he would. I don't even really think he needs to be there mentally. Like he's that good. 60 meters square at Marvel. I'm not sure he's worried. I reckon he'll be sweet. He'll win us a couple games. But he seemed like nice bloke. A little bit loose as well. He's going to fit in perfectly, I reckon.
Have you guys had many trainings? Have you trained with him?
Not with him.
No, he rolled in on Saturday. So
Is that how it works? He just rolls in Saturday into the game.
I think was he playing that Dubai League?
Yeah, he was in the T10.
The T10, right.
He's come straight here, and now he's in South Africa now.
Yeah.
He's on a flight back now.
Yeah.
11-day break.
Yeah.
So we talk about this all the time with young guys, like what you would shoot for. Like you guys are ambitious guys. You're playing in the red ball setup for Victoria, right? And I'm sure baggy green is what you ultimately want to achieve. But like because the game's changing so quickly, like I know it's our view here that the Big Bash has to be a centre point of our summer, really, because that's where cricket's going. So like when you look at Quinton, for instance, how do you guys feel about that? Where like is that something that you would aspire to, doing the T10 league into another league, maybe playing in the IPL obviously or the 100? Like do you guys aspire to that maybe more aggressively than the baggy green?
Look, I've always said when asked this question, I reckon you want to play for Australia, but I think you make a lot of your money in your life. Let's be honest, we can make money from cricket. So towards the end of my career, I'd definitely love to do a T20 circuit of sorts. And I know when this time of year comes around, it's a great opportunity to perform because
100%,
you can get picked up in IPL or whatever, as Annabelle did, and make a lot a lot and set yourself up. So
100%, man.
You're governed by the dollar at the end of the day. If you only got to look as far. Only got to look as far as the golf. You can go back and see John Rahm say, "I'd never play live. It's a disgrace. I want cuts. I want 4 rounds." 600 milli later.
Yeah, everyone's got a price, don't they, Brownlee?
I'm going straight to Baghdad to play for whoever for the right price.
Super Sixers.
Yeah, I'm playing Super Sixers for Baghdad United. I couldn't get it.
That's good shit. That's real life. That's real talk though.
Yeah.
100%. Like as Solo said, especially for me, I'm not very established in the white ball scene, so red ball is probably where I'm looking to go. But if something came about, you're silly not to take that opportunity. This, as Solo said, you got to you know, you guys can do podcasts till you're 80. We've got probably 15 years of cricket if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, the TikTokers are coming for us. This is old school. This shit now.
We have to do a dance after this, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. You could have joined us on a TikTok dance.
Done.
We'll do the Renegade.
Yeah, is that a thing? Is that actually a thing?
Yeah, I think it was a dance to it. I don't know how it goes. Or
Oh, sure.
We're doing one for Baghdad United. So.
Yeah, they're already signed up. Exclusive.
Baghdad
That's
United.
not what you want to hear as Victorian captain. I might be losing a player to Baghdad pretty soon.
Bloody oath.
Oh, well.
I actually don't even know where Baghdad is, to be honest, but I'll play there.
10k and over.
That's good shit. Sutho, 50 in a losing side via the Sixers the other night.
Yeah, congrats.
Congrats. Is that
the
good
dream,
back in the
isn't
sheds? Yeah.
Before he continues, did you notice the last ball? Absolute slot, but we couldn't win, and he just went knock on the head for one, average.
You know
Red.
who I learnt that
Yeah,
off?
playing for Red.
Whenever Ferg knows I'm about to declare for Victoria, fake slogger comes out, shaking him along the ground, twos to the outfielders.
I
I learned that off you.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah, but obviously disappointing result, but good to chip in. The old, what would you rather, a 5 for in a losing side or get the win? I was happy. Obviously it would have been nice to get the win first up, but always happy to perform.
Do you watch, obviously the test starts on Thursday and the, the way we basically, we kicked off the campaign for the test season with Mitchell Johnson just absolutely, spraying David Warner with bullets and then just acknowledging that it's because it's personal and he doesn't like him. Do you guys watch like some of the older generation guys just go at each other and think it's not like that at our age? Like, do you look at it with some kind of bemusement or do you think, no, this is fucking awesome?
Yeah, it's
I don't
an
know.
interesting one.
I like the rivalry. Like, whenever we play against WA, say, like, I always want to beat WA. I don't really like WA. But I think it's hard now, especially like Sutho captain the Aussie A side.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 WA blokes, 3 Queenslanders. It's like back in the day, if you played with your Vic boys and you played against whatever, and, Vic played T20s as well. So it's all us against them. Now, you only got to look as far as the Stars. I'm not sure how many Victorian players are even playing for the Stars. It's all interstate. So
What's happened to the Stars?
Yeah.
It's really dropped off, eh?
second best in Melbourne.
Don't want to speak too soon. It's early in the season. But,
You're so aware. It's good. I was going to keep going. Yeah.
probably not rare enough, are they?
No.
Yeah. So what happened?
Too straight,
Yeah. So
no.
you lose Zampa. That's a big chunk
Big
of
loss.
rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the old school common man takes over and
Lose by 100 runs.
not having fun.
Who's good in the Big Bash this year? Feels like at the moment, like Sixers and Scorchers are good again. They've been good for a number of years, but
Yeah, for the 13th year in a row.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
two teams good. I'd have to agree with you. I think the Scorchers are always a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Probably our rank 1 would love to beat.
Got a point off them last night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't we celebrate it like as well? Sixers are good as well. So
yeah,
but we obviously look at our list and think we can.
it's good.
We
Yeah,
can take it
good
to them.
list.
So
I reckon as well with like, if you put some of the internationals just like come off, doesn't matter what team they're playing for. If they come off, that you win a game. You know what I mean? So hopefully Quinny and Clarkey can do that for us, and Mujib.
Yeah.
It's a question for both of you because I know you can give him a whack as well, Ferg. I sort of don't want to say this, but I actually took my boys to the MCG for one of the days of the game between you guys and New South Wales, and you scored runs. I was trying to fill time with my kids. No, it was good to watch you bat, but probably more to Will. Like I look at there's a big chat about Cam Green at the moment and how to get him into the side, and Mitch Marsh is the incumbent. This is as we go to air. Who knows? But you were talking about Watto earlier as well. Like I just feel in Australia we're just so unforgiving to all rounders. Like we, with all these really, really talented, high skill all rounders like Watson, Cam Green is another one. We expect them to like score match winning hundreds when they bat, and then to take like bulk poles at a low average when they bowl. So basically just perform both skills at the elite level of like the highest form of the game. And they end up not doing that. They end up, you know, batting at like 35 and bowling at like 27 or something, which is incredible. Like Shane Watson was like 35 and 33.
His record's very comparable to Stokes.
Same record as Stokes, really. Then you got 3 formats and the catching and the leadership and all this sort of stuff, and still it's deeply underrated. Do you consider that, I know you're probably more bowling first at the moment, but like, do you think about that in terms of your own career and how, you know, whether your chances of playing for the national team are higher if you err towards one skill, or do you just do both disciplines and prepare as best you can for both and give yourself a crack?
Yeah, great question.
I know it's a deeper kind of question, but it just irritates me a lot how we continually criticize all-rounders for not basically performing at the highest level in both disciplines.
Yeah, I think it's brutal. You've got half the time to prepare for 2 skills.
Yes.
Personally, I want to be as good as I can in both, and for me it's all about contributing. If you miss out with the bat, you've got an opportunity to perform with the ball. So you might be more of a bowler contribution one game, a batter contribution the next game. It doesn't look good for your stats, but you know, you're probably the most impactful player in the team, and you know, every game you can win it, whether it's with the bat or the ball. It doesn't have to be both. So I think that's what the public might expect, that you have to perform with both every time. But if it's runs one game, wickets the next, you're pretty impactful player to the team. So definitely a bit stiff on those all rounders, especially Watto. Great book, Mental Skills as well.
That's
author, best-selling author. It's basically Callus, the only guy that's ever like average 50 and bowled under 30, basically.
Yeah. But even then, Callus batted 3, so he had the time to score those runs as well. Sure. Although, albeit good enough to do it. So I suppose you'd be in favour of Cam Green actually sliding up to 4 because it might just sort of open up a spot.
Getting up there.
I've always thought he's a very good bat.
What are your conversations, Solo, about like with the Australian selectors? Because you must have been close. You're obviously captaining Victoria. Did you captain Australia, Ray?
A few one days.
Yes, right. So then, like the guys around the squad recently for Australia, Aaron Hardy's another one that does sort of both skill sets. I mean, like you must have the T20 World Cup next year in America and the West Indies like in the mind to be a shot. I mean, have you had conversations about any sort of white ball representation for Australia?
Been in chats here and there. The feedback was probably need a few more runs. If I want to take that all-rounder spot, it's probably obviously Hards and myself. By Webster's going all right as well.
Yeah,
Slug.
Yep,
Slug. Yeah, wonder why he's got that nickname.
That's his penis.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
He won't mind me saying. Actually,
it's a great nickname.
Yeah. Slug.
It's just fun to say.
What I wouldn't give. Slug or buckets.
Yeah, slug or buckets.
You know what I'm saying?
Buckets
essentially infers. My kingdom to be called buckets for one day. Sorry, go on, mate.
Yeah. Talk about your career now, will you?
IPL. Yeah. Australia.
Yeah. Nah, look.
More runs.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, I don't know. It's always the old keep trying to perform for Victoria, and whatever happens. More runs.
More runs. Yeah,
so, you're captain of Victoria, so just slide yourself up.
Who's
in the gun?
Or down, depending on what the wicket's doing.
Oh, of course, just wherever.
Yeah.
That happened with Maxi and Wadey a few years ago, didn't it? You know, didn't Wadey just put himself up because he was skipper or something, and then Maxi missed out? So, just some Victoria stuff there you don't want to talk about?
Classic Vicks.
I'm going to say, just completely off topic, so this probably not a memory you would have, but a couple of years ago, I had the privilege of being invited to be assistant coach of Melbourne Grammar.
Yeah.
And in this game where Melbourne Grammar was playing, like I need to be clear to the audience, like I didn't grow up in this environment. I was not a Melbourne like APS private school like scene star, right? I'm Sydney, different kettle of fish. I'm walking in an outsider, and big game against Scotch College, where there's this kid called Will Sutherland who's the gun, you know, and he's taller than everybody, and he's got a beard, you know. His dad's head honcho and stuff like that, and all the boys, they like they rock up going, oh, they've got Sutherland, I'm hungover. I'm like, oh, fuck this guy. I don't know who cares. And you were like a state player at school. So during the game, first innings at the beautiful grounds of Scotch, we created a tactic when you came out to bat, which is to put every single player on the boundary.
The old 9-out theory.
Yeah, that's it. And as the coach and I walked around the field, a number of the parents from Scotch alleged that this was against the spirit of the game. To which we were like, if he's good enough, he'll just hit over or through, And do you remember what happened from there?
Well, I do. It was a one-day game. So obviously a normal one-day game, you'd be allowed 5 outside the ring through the middle. I got to 60 in about 10 overs. So I was going all right. School cricket. I do remember that, you had a guy probably 80 metres back at deep point, got a wide half volley, absolutely cracked it straight down his throat to one of the 9 out on the rope there. And
fell into the trap, didn't you?
Yeah. And Pez, I saw Pez start woohooing on the ground.
Did you actually? Nobody could keep a lower profile than me at those games. That is not true. But I recall it at, actually don't remember this very well, but like one of the features of these games is that both captains have to give a speech at lunchtime. And you spoke, and I just remember, all I remember, you have to put your blazer and stuff. I just remember how alpha you were. That's all. And like your dad is sitting there, and I'm like, this is some fucking power just sitting here. And I think you even had a crack at the umpires as well. Like and I was just like, man, this kid's gonna play.
Yeah. Smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, that's right. Smoking a cigarette
on the whiskey.
Yeah, that's right. 2 kids in the back of the car. No, but then I do. I think we had you 9 down, and then one of our guys dropped the catch, and then then we just fell in a heap. But anyway, in Melbourne school cricket, people love listening to that sort of shit. Boys, thanks so much for joining us on the couch. All the best for the season ahead. Love to have you back if you'd like to come back. But yeah, cheers.
Thank you kindly.
Thanks, gents. Appreciate it.
Can we get a photo?
100%.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much to Will and Fergus for coming in studio. A couple of Gades, a couple of Melbourne Reds coming in. And also, what I wouldn't give. All right, Pez, just a couple of things before we get into Bangladesh, New Zealand and West Indies, England. Alyssa Healy has been announced as the captain of the women's cricket team.
Good.
No surprises, really?
No.
Front runner.
Yeah, front.
Yeah. Put it to me in a horse racing team.
That's right. I think so, and I think had the endorsement of a lot of senior players as well. I like it. I like her in her immediate comments about what's coming up. She challenged or almost dared the BCCI to create spinning wickets when they go there for their test in Mumbai. So we've got plenty of spinners ourselves. I just like the punchiness of that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
We won't call them shit tips. But
I read this morning, just speaking about the WPL, because some of the announcements have been made about signings going to places, and I think Jay Shah announced this morning, or perhaps even yesterday, saying that every game is going to be played in the one state.
Okay.
There's that. But I also I love Alyssa Healy's punchiness. But like, if you have the best team and you have the best squad, best players, then we'll play you in anything.
Yeah,
it's very chill.
Tali McGrath, vice captain.
Fight you on the beaches.
I like it. Yeah, well, I mean, like if you're gonna win that many games, like that's what it affords you. You earn the right to start fucking around with that kind of stuff. It's
going to feel amazing to whichever team does eventually pass the Australian women's team, which we know won't happen. But like, if they continue this vein of like confidence in the press, that's going to have to feel good when eventually they lose.
I know it's a faux pas to relate this stuff to men's cricket, but it is the one cross I've got against Cummins' team, because now that they've started to win bulk and be owners of most trophies, key trophies, that is in Australia. That the next step is to become nationally obnoxious about that again, like to be insufferable to the ears of any other nation, and yet Pat and co continue along with this faux humility that none of us can get on board with. It doesn't sit well. No. It's not part of our DNA.
They're not winning hard enough, Pez.
Exactly.
Not winning hard enough with a hard enough
So thanks
nose.
to Heels as well. Just yeah, you can give us a shit tip if you want.
Yeah.
Place on that. We'll do it. We'll turn up.
Fuck, that's alpha. And she is alpha, to be fair. Amazon rights, Pez. We've never spoken about it or even alluded to it before, especially not in an advertisement for VPNs. But Amazon have picked up the rights for major ICC tournament events, most notably the World Cup, which is in the West Indies and the US, which is midway through next year in June, straight after the IPL. That will now be on Amazon for Australian
ODI World Cup as well,
and the ODI World Cup in 2027, and the Champions Trophy 2025. And there was something else more recently than that. No, I think that was it. I think that was it. Yeah. Anyway, so that means that if Australians want to watch Australia, the men's cricket team, play in the ICC T20 World Cup, and if they win that, they will literally own every major trophy. I suppose they'd have to also beat India in the Border Gavaskar series the following summer, but they'd have to download and subscribe to Amazon per
another subscription service. Yeah. Important to note that CA don't sell these rights. The ICC owns it, so it's the International Cricket Council who probably have less onus on them, I think, to ensure that there's bulk eyeballs in Australia on it. You're just looking at getting good Skrilla. I'm sure it's a consideration, but not in the same way as it would be for Cricket Australia. It's probably a blow for Fox, to be honest, who build their billing around showing, if I have Fox, I've been conditioned through their great rights acquisitions to expect to see every ball of the Australian team.
Yeah, I mean, that's what... Isn't it in the slogan? See every ball of the Australian team?
Yeah, I think they say it through the summer. They came out the following day and announced they've basically got everything else. Amazon has, so for the fan, it's just another subscription. It's not a win which for will the probably fans. Becoming quite normalised as a sports fan in a depressing way.
Yep.
That you just got to have everything if you want to watch everything. Yep. Amazon's been tiptoeing around sports rights for a long time. They've always had the EPL. They just dropped out of the EPL the next round. But they've been tiptoeing around sports rights for a little while, obviously, with cricket. They've done this. They usually lead in with a couple of sports documentaries, which they've done with the Test, which was also announced on the same day, the third season of the Test, which is going to cover the Ashes. I wonder what they paid. Probably paid.
Yeah, it hasn't been announced what they paid, I think.
Probably paid a bit. I think broadly in the global sports landscape, it's been expected that the streaming giants will eventually hoover up lots of these rights. So I think that trend continues. I wonder if it is a good deal for the ICC commercially, given it's arguable that international cricket, despite an excellent World Cup from an Australian perspective, that international cricket is generally being degraded at the hands of domestic franchise cricket. It's not to say that it's not enjoyable for some people, it's just where the money is for it. I wonder if there is going to be bulk interest in upcoming World Cups within Australia anyway, given the time zones of them and the store time zone. No, given the time zone of USA, West Indies, Australia's relationship to T20 cricket. I wonder where ODI cricket will be in 2027. I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. Is ODI cricket probably hardly going to be played, between now and then, at least from an Australian perspective. Net result for the team, though, is that fewer eyeballs on them, despite being world champions. I think that kind of sucks. And as a consumer, you now need half a dozen subscriptions in Australia if you like footy and cricket.
Yeah, I mean, just sports generally. I mean, even you and I are, football fans, Premier League fans. Our teams, you'd have to have Optus Sport in Australia, then you have to have Stan to watch the European competitions, and then you have to have beIN Sport if you want to watch the League Cups or the FA Cup as well. So then you have KO as well covering some of that. If you have Fox Footy and Fox League, that's obviously wrapped up in a KO subscription. If you like the NBA, ESPN, then for your cricket now as well, Amazon, it feels like it never ends. There's just more money coming out of your account. But so not a win for fans. But I do wonder about but with the T20 World Cup in Australia, those games, I think we figured, because Australia's playing in the West Indies, there's not any games for Australia in the US. We don't think anyway. The schedule hasn't come out, but so that means that the games, I think, will be on at about 8 in the morning or something like that in Australia. So not at least it's watchable in the fact that we're awake.
Yes,
but
that's a win.
But many people in Australia, they have jobs. So that's something I learned recently. I read that in the paper this morning. And so that makes it hard when you have a job to also try and watch a cricket match. But, so, I mean, how much is the community going to be able to, the public going to be able to actually engage in the matches themselves? Are you just watching highlights like you do if it was in India and the games finish at 3 in the morning anyway? I mean, this is actually just globally, it's hard to watch an Australian team playing in global competitions, or like the Olympics or whatever. The Olympics in Paris next year, it's going to be hard because those times won't really line up for peak events. They'll be like 2 a.m. and stuff as well for us. So maybe we should just move the entire country.
This is where people might have been reading.
That's why Perth is good.
Glazing over the articles that have continually mentioned like anti-siphoning, the legislation in Australia which basically protects prestigious events and ensures that like you can watch this stuff on free-to-air TV when Australia is participating in a big event. Now that list is now essentially restricted to events that are in Australia and New Zealand only, and there's some exceptions, for example, the Ashes. So the government ensures that if the Ashes are on, even if they're in England, you can watch it on free-to-air TV. It's got to go. Like, it has to be sold to them because the government understands that people want to fucking watch it. I think it's interesting that the government, as this list is continually evolving, dynamic, subject to, like, political, playing, they look at the World Cup and they're like the T20 World Cup in the West Indies and I'm not really. You know what I mean? Like,
who's opening?
It's right. T20 is Wadey.
I'm going to put Granny up top.
Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, no, Australia, we're actually the world champions of ODI cricket. There's a World Cup in a couple of years' time. Australians will want to support the world champions. And they're like, 2027, not sure what we're looking at. I
wonder if it's even harder for our Kiwi brethren. They're being like 2 hours behind the eastern states here. I don't know if it's better or worse. I feel like it actually might be worse for them.
I don't know what they're up to.
I'll tell you what they're up to. Playing an absolute shit tip in Bangladesh. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's go.
So the 2 test match series has finished 1-1. Bangladesh won the first test by 150 runs. New Zealand won the second test by 4 wickets on what Tim Southey, who is captaining, described as the worst wicket he'd ever seen. Hell of a game. Sorry, I've clicked on the scoreboard for the first test match. I've got my second test here in front of me. So in the second test match, Bangladesh batted first. They were hang on a second. Who won the toss here? I don't know who won the toss. Bangladesh won the batted first and were up for 172. So New Zealand's bowlers were Southey, Kyle Jamieson, KJ, Ajaz Patel, Santner and Glenn Phillips. So 3-pronged spin attack. Bangladesh all out for 172 in the first dig. And New Zealand made 180, and that's all down to Glenn Phillips, who made 87 off 72, batting at 7. So they had an 8-run lead. And then in the next innings, Bangladesh made 144. Ajaz Patel took 6 for 57. People might remember him from taking 10 wickets in innings about a year ago in India.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it a year ago? Took 10 for? In an innings. So that's him, same guy. New Zealand needed 139 to win in the last innings, and they did that thanks to Glenn Phillips's 40 off 48. Mitchell Santner as well scored 35 off 39, batting at 8. So in the chase, New Zealand were 6 for 69 when Darren Mitchell was out again trying to chase 139 and did it 4 down. So pretty decent game there. But Tim Southey said deck no good. But well done to the Kiwis for levelling the series, I suppose one might say. The other series going on, actually,
nothing better than like declaring a shit tip but winning, I would say.
Oh, nothing more satisfying.
Yeah, because you just get that credibility that goes with, like, I still won. Yeah. But whereas if you lose a game,
you can't say it if you lose.
Well, if you lose a game and you call it a shit tip, you're just jealous.
You know what those are? Sour grapes. The West Indies have been England in an ODI series for the first time since 2007. That's right. You know it. I know it. The world knows it. 2007. West Indies won the 3rd match there in Bridgetown, Jamaica. Bridgetown, Jamaica feels right to me. I'm not strong on my West Indies island nations.
Go for it though, which is good.
I think Bridgetown, Jamaica rolls off the tongue. You know, it's like Boston, Massachusetts. You know, like that sort of. I didn't say Massachusetts just then, but
it's in Barbados.
Bridgetown, Barbados. God damn it.
As you were saying, sorry about Massachusetts. That great state in California.
Yeah, Miami. West Indies won the third match there in Barbados. I think it was in Bridgetown, actually, on Duckworth Lewis. They chased a revised target of 191, 6 down. I think England made 210 or something like that, and then it was revised down to 191. West Indies chased that 6 down. So they won the series 2-1. First time, as I said, winning a series against England, ODI series since 2007. The first of 5 T20 starts on Wednesday, but other news coming out of West Indies cricket, which is all bodes very well for international cricket generally, and of course the 2 test matches that Australia's going to receive, I would say, receive those test matches in mid-January. Jason Holder, Nicholas Purin and Kyle Myers, who were all captains of the West Indies at one time, have turned down West Indies central contracts. The trio will still be available for the T20I series in the coming year. Cricket West Indies made this announcement whilst announcing 14 men's and 15 women's contracts. So this isn't obviously a new thing in West Indies cricket. You think about players like Chris Gale and Kyron Pollard was the first one to do it, to reject a central contract for the West Indies to go around on the T20 circuit. So it's been going around for a while, but there's just higher profile, not necessarily higher profile, but more and more of the West Indies players are turning down central contracts just to play franchise cricket. I say just to play franchise cricket is much more beneficial for them. But they are still available for T20I series. I suppose it just highlights their priorities, West Indies cricket, or the West Indies cricketers perhaps, see the international T20 tournaments as beneficial. But I don't know. All of it feels... Is my sadness the right feeling to feel for that? I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of a denigration of international cricket. But I mean, T20I tournaments, as long as the West Indies are strong there, then that's going to be a good tournament with them in it.
Well, they just knocked off England in ODIs, right? Would have been...
Couldn't make the World Cup though, of course.
Well, it just would have been nice to have them there too.
Yeah,
you know,
just to strengthen that tournament.
Well, maybe England's lucky to be in the World Cup. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, of course, man. I mean...
Yeah.
How fucking sick would international cricket be with a strong West Indies?
Yeah,
it's just a function of the the priorities of the game. Really, there's enough money to prop these countries up.
Yeah.
We've even heard Ricky Ponting talk about that.
Yeah,
Socialist,
Yep.
comrade Ricky Ponting, but it doesn't happen, and it's just bulk capitalism deluxe.
Yep. I was talking to our friend Ali Martin this morning.
Yeah.
From The Guardian.
Yeah.
And he, I'm not going to read the text because some of them were quite heinous. Like the things he was saying was quite shocking.
Oh, yeah.
He's like that, isn't he, Ali?
On text.
And he's definitely going to be listening to this. So I'm sorry, Ali.
He'll hate that. He'll hate it. He's one of the greatest, nicest men.
It's so mean.
Erudite,
It's so
chief
mean to say
cricket
that.
correspondent of The Guardian. You're just torching him, going like, fuck, he's got some heinous stuff.
He's the nicest man.
Yeah.
And he's funny and he's good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, good save.
Yeah. Anyway.
Got the thesaurus in. He's funny and good.
Anyway, Ali was telling me this morning that England are playing 17 tests in 2024. 17 tests in 2024. They've got 5 obviously in India coming up in late January and Feb, and I guess that must finish just before the IPL. Then they've got 6 at home for their summer. I don't remember who's coming out, but I feel like Sri Lanka's involved. That could be wrong though, of course, because I also said that Bridgetown was in Jamaica. Yeah, so, you know.
Have a crack, have a shot.
Yeah, have a shot in the dart. There he goes. Yeah, dumb. Then they've got 3 in Pakistan and then 3 in New Zealand to finish. So that makes 17 in 2024. You're chucking an IPL in there and you're chucking in a little T20 World Cup, which you'd feel like England would want to perform very well in. And it's just like, fuck, that is a hell of a lot of cricket for the guys who are going to be playing in all of those tournaments. But there's content. There's a bit of Bunce talking about something for the eyeball, something for the ears, something for the heart, something for the soul.
I thought we started the pod kind of rusty, but it's... Now you just close one side of your mouth and it just starts fucking pouring out of you.
Yeah, so that feels like a lot, you know, and just like the high that English cricket was on coming into the ODI World Cup, everyone talking about, ourselves included, thinking like they were the most likely to challenge India, and how that all fell away so quickly. And then you look at the context of all this, they're going to get shit tipped in India, like all these test matches away from home. Yeah, you'd still back them to perform well in the T20 World Cup where they're very strong. They've still got so many great white ball players, but it just feels like they've gone from having like this wonderful, renaissance, just like this era, this legacy era of Morgan and, you know, couple of World Cups and whatever. And now it's like, are they going to be in the absolute mire again? They're going to be in absolute.
But sure. Like, but these things get wound up by media so much.
Do,
it's just like they just through the schedule. They just have 3 or 4 of the toughest challenges in cricket.
That's right.
Compressed together. But what people will do is go, oh, this is endemic of some kind of major decline that must reveal some toxic cancer inside the ecosystem of the game. Just like, no, it's just you're just playing a couple of tough things at the same time. You just go from like Ashes against Australia into like a World Cup in India where it was pretty hubris and fatigue. We can do it with the guys that we've got. Everyone else is going to be pretty shit anyway. No one cares about ODI cricket. And they just were heaps tired and were shit and too old. And then they happen to go into Test cricket in India, which is literally the hardest thing to do in the game.
Yeah.
It's just the hardest thing to do. So
possibly the hardest ever Test series.
Yeah, and it's like, well, hang on, they actually won 17 in a row before that. What the fuck's happened to them? It's just they just playing heaps of hard things at the same time. Then they're going to go to their home summer and they'll fucking destroy whoever's there. Then cricket will be back up. And you know how giddy they all get over there? Just like we do here, but they do it with bigger words, And then English cricket's back up and running again. Fuck it. Whatever.
So do you think swimming changes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Key, gone.
I think Mott's got to go.
Key, effigies, mothball, out.
Yep.
Whatever.
What about Ali Martin?
Of course. Why does it feel, like I'll just blithely call for the heads of people in other jobs, but in our sort of thing, I feel that's on the nose a bit. Ali's one of the rare guys who covers it with a level of, measure.
I'm only joking. I love Ali.
Enough's been said, I think.
All right. Hashtag AskTGC. Hashtag AskTGC is brought to you by Ponting Wines. You can use the code GETAFEW for 20% off at pontingwines.com.au. People that have signed up for TGC's newsletter via the website. You can go to greycricket.com and sign up to the newsletter. And
a lot of newsletter experts replying to that as well.
Indeed. I would have seen that you can get the 20% off discount from pontingwines.com.au on there as well. But yeah, pontingwines.com. Use the code
GETAFEW.
20% off.
20% off.
You reading this or is it me?
Yeah, I'll go if you like. You happy with that?
Fill your boots, son.
You've done me there.
I wish I talked like that.
Tim writes in, boys, having trudged the life disaffirming path of Saturday club cricket in rural New Zealand for a period of time that would be considered celebration worthy, if it were a marriage milestone, I recently decided to hang up the gloves and take up more appropriate middle-aged pursuits. I had in front of me the choice of other well-trodden paths ahead of me, these being obsessive lawn tending, meat smoking, or I could don sleek lycra and a ridiculous moisture-wicking head covering and perform moderate feats of cardiovascular endurance in an attempt to unclog the arteries blocked by years of passive smoking, sitting on the boundary next to Oz, our token Australian in the team. Naturally, I chose the lycra and a new year, new me mantra and started to pound my local pavements. About 3 months into this new pursuit, I run past a dad playing with his daughter at a local playground. I give him the cursory, but so hang on, is he talking about running here now? Pounding pavements? Lycra but running? Is it pounding pavements running past somewhere?
Yeah, it's running.
Yeah, but with lycra. Because I was like, anyway, just getting the visual right.
Could be a kink.
I give him the cursory but friendly nod, the one that carries the meaning, I see you bawling dads such as myself. I acknowledge your effort in giving mum Saturday morning off, and I empower your father-daughter bond. Go well. With that out of the way, my shoulders square up, my eyes go dead, and I continue to run unflinchingly onward in an attempt to portray the fallacy that I am in fact an athlete and could continue this tempo for days, should it be needed. It is at that moment that I hear a small, clear voice behind me, and floating on the wind come the sweetest words I've ever heard in my life. Daddy, he runs faster than you. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I don't look back. I remain unflinching, unchanging, perpetual motion until I glide, bracket stomp, out of sight. Inside me, though, everything changed. Here I was, not even one season into this new pursuit of self-improvement, and already I had experienced an alpha moment far in advance of anything cricket had given me. This small child had offered me more affirmation of my ability in one brief interaction than decades of wasted Saturdays with my cricketing peers. So my question is this. Given it only took 3 months to feel more alpha than I ever did in 25, 30 years of cricket, not to mention the multitude of health benefits gained from my newfound sport, quote, Why has my cricket bag only made it to the storage nook instead of being given away or sold like my wife suggested it should? P.S. A couple of weeks ago, the message came in to see if I was around to fill in this season. I tried to type a hard no, but I blacked out a little and my fingers slipped. And what I sent back was, possibly after Christmas. What is wrong with me? Cheers, lads. Love the pod. Tim.
So Tim's story is a little girl thought he ran fast.
Well, it's more than that, he goes. It's more than
of course
that.
it is.
I've got a lot of thoughts, as you'd imagine.
Well, you know, it's the phenomenon of like anytime you see anyone down like at your local park that you might frequent, and you see someone kicking a footy, passing a soccer ball or whatever, or like hitting a tennis ball with a tennis racket, swinging a golf club, whatever. All you're doing is you're having a look as like, are they any good?
Yes.
You know, that's all you're ever doing.
Of course.
And so to receive the affirmation from said little girl, that you're like, well, I'm doing a pretty good job here, gliding my way through the park.
Yeah, look, it touches a lot of nerves, you know, dads talking about this stuff. And
Sure.
like, and you know, I appreciate it's just a well-trodden topic. Parents will understand, like once you enter this arena, that's all you fucking know. All your references are gone. You don't know any references to anything. You don't know where to go out anymore. You don't know what to wear. You don't know who you are. So it's a huge identity change. You're searching for new identity. You really feel your age. All of a sudden you're pushing 40. You know, do I wear that t-shirt? Do I wear white wheels? I'm fucking pushing 40. You know, you see guys doing stuff like that. You know, fuck, I'm aged around the eyes. You know, like I'm really getting. You know,
My hemorrhoids are playing up.
Yeah, it's. Getting tests done at hospital, like you're at the doctor, and you're in the realm of tests.
Yeah,
getting tests done. There's a lot going on. So I appreciate what Tim is talking about here. I appreciate especially what he's talking about in terms of like you know, you say for example, like you're just asking, you know, girls just saying he runs faster than you.
Yep.
I was in the car with my son yesterday. My youngest was sleeping, and I was having what I thought was like quite a good D&M with my 5-year-old son, and we were talking about jobs or something like that. And it's like he knows what mum does. He knows what mum does, and I said to him like, oh, I tell stories about cricket. We're talking about like you know, getting money in exchange for services. He's 5 years old. He's like, oh, you get paid for something or whatever. I was like, I tell cricket stories. And he goes like, you could just say you tell stories. And I'm like, why? He's like, oh, I just understand it better, you know? Right. And I think he was grappling with like, why would you get money for telling cricket stories? You know? Very good question. Yeah. So I'm starting to spin. I'm like, well, they look like cricket stories, but they're not really. You know, it's not really cricket. It's actually about, you know, I'm like, you know how you watch Bluey, Ted, and Rusty's batting, but that story's not really about cricket, isn't it? It's about conquering your fears. It's about looking after your little sister. You know, it's about missing your dad who's being away and stuff. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, I sort of do that, but make it funny. He's like, how's that funny? Single tear rolling down my cheek. I just turn up the music louder and louder. I can't hear you anymore. Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon.
That's good.
But yeah, I like. I don't know, it was a couple of things I picked up in this as well. Okay, so the other day I was running as well, speaking of like nodding at dads. But I saw like a fucking really cool thing. It was a dad with his son, and they were in unison. It would appeared to me to be doing taekwondo moves in unison. So like it seemed to be something. Look, I'm sorry for the vagueness or Ludditeness here. Like I don't know if it was practicing something from karate or Tai Chi, but they were in flowing Tai Chi.
Or if he was on ketamine.
Yeah, then he just taken a boy. And it was actually one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. They were like, Dad had taken the son, he's taken the son to the park, and they'd clearly been practicing their Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And I ran past, I'm like, that's awesome. And he like snapped his neck, you know. And the son didn't say anything about me being faster than his dad. But you see cool shit like this.
Do you know how I know it's summer, Pez? Is because it is. But where was I driving? I was going through Albert Park the other day down here in Melbourne, and there's like lots of kids playing on like Friday afternoon, like, and I just looking like, wow, and they were mostly playing cricket, and like I look at like dads wearing, you know, like board shorts and stuff, like over the knee board shorts, like, come on boys, grow up for a start. Yeah. And they're just like very disinterested in square leg, got the bowlers and like sort of semi-knowing the rules. And I'm driving past and I'm observing all this, and the kids are having like the fucking time of their life, and the dads are like, I took off work early for this to, you know, watch this shit, basically. And then I saw like one dad like with a ball in one hand and a bat in the other, hitting catches to his son about probably, let's say 4 meters away, not that far away. And he went to like drop the ball and hit onto the bat, and he missed it with the bat. And I was like, that is going to be a rough experience for that kid. Yeah.
Oh, you mean through his life? It's like dad just can't connect with one. He ain't got it. But at least he's there doing it.
That's
you know
what I
mean? At least he's there.
He came home from war.
Well, it's like you know, you have a child who has an interest that you have fucking no connection with at all.
Like Taekwondo.
Well, he looked very fucking into it, to be honest. But getting involved, I think, is good. Like if my son wants to do some science stuff, I'm like, crack off.
Frack off. Something to think about.
Something to think about.
Get in your hashtag AskTGCs. You can go to gradecricket.com and email us there if you want to do, or you can get us on Patreon as well, patreon.com/gradecricketer. Thank you very much to Fergus. Thank you very much for Will for coming in studio. Live show tickets. Come and see us. Come and see us at the NMORE. If you are in Sydney, bring a mate. Bring anybody. Bring anybody. Don't bring anyone. Bring your mates and come along and see us at the NMORE. We'll see you guys on the internet, through your ears, through your eyes, through your hearts, at the end of the day's play in Perth on Thursday. Cheers.